don't think people understood what it was I was doing at Schaefer. I wasn't there to conduct. Any fucking moron can wave his arms around and keep people in tempo. I was there to push people beyond what's expected of them. I believe this is an absolute necessity. Otherwise, we are depriving the world of the next Louis Armstrong, the next Charlie Parker. I told you that story about how Charlie Parker became Charlie Parker, right?
Yeah, Joe Jones threw a cymbal at his head.
Exactly. Parker's a young kid, pretty good on sax, gets up to play at a cutting session, and he fucks it up. And Jones nearly decapitates him for it. And he's laughed off stage. But the next morning, what does he do? He practices, and he practices, and he practices with one goal in mind. Never to be laughed at again. And a year later, he goes back to the Reno, and he steps up on that stage, and he plays the best motherfucking solo the world has ever heard. So imagine if Jones had just said, well, that's okay, Charlie. That was alright, good job. Then Charlie thinks to himself, well, shit, I did do a pretty good job. End of story. No bird. That, to me, is an absolute tragedy. But that's just what the world wants now. People wonder why jazz is dying. I'll tell you, man, and every Starbucks jazz album just proves my point, really. There are no two words in the English language more harmful than good job.
But is there a line? You know, maybe you go too far and you discourage the next Charlie Parker from ever becoming Charlie Parker?
No, man, no. Because the next Charlie Parker would never be discouraged. The truth is, Andrew, I never really had a Charlie Parker, but I tried. I actually fucking tried. And that's more than most people ever do. And I will never apologize for how I tried. There are no two words in the English language more harmful than good job. Andrew Neiman is an ambitious young jazz drummer in the pursuit of rising to the top of his elite music conservatory. Terrence Fletcher, an instructor known for his terrifying teaching methods, discovers Andrew and transfers the aspiring drummer into a top jazz ensemble, forever changing the young man's life. But Andrew's passion to achieve perfection quickly spirals into obsession as his ruthless teacher pushes him to the brink of his ability and his sanity. Welcome to another feature presentation of Midnight Double Feature, and on this episode we'll be covering 2014's Whiplash, written and directed by Damien Chazelle.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Midnight Double Feature. I'm here with my other half, Colin. How you doing, Colin?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I am swell, dude. I was just telling you I'm a bit under the weather. Listeners, don't worry, there's nothing wrong with your speakers. Your bass level is fine. It's just me being fucking a little bit under the weather. But probably I might already sound the same anyway. I have a pretty bassy voice, so I don't fucking know. What a way to start the episode.
I know, right? Starting off strong.
Starting off strong. Dude, as you guys just heard, we're fucking covering Whiplash today, man. I'm so fucking excited to get into this movie. But before we do, a little bit of housekeeping. So, guys, thank you for joining us on another feature presentation episode. These are episodes where we go through the entire movie, sort of like sequentially, just basically break it down, talk about things that are worth talking about. We're going to be swearing, especially on this episode, because it's so fucking quotable.
Yeah. And not to mention the big E for explicit. I mean...
Yeah, that see that little red fucking E? Yeah, that means explicit. So, yeah, we're not mincing words here, right?
Hell no, yeah.
Hell no. But yeah, we're also going to be spoiling the movie as well, because we can't do a breakdown without spoiling it. So if you haven't seen this movie, shut this shit off and go watch it, because I'm going to tip my hand, and I think you probably agree as well. It's a fucking good movie, dude. Like, it's damn good. So go check it out before you come back to this, and yeah, we'll wait.
Yeah, just sit here for 2 hours. Somebody's like, oh, hey, by the way, a comment finally pops up. We're like, all right, God damn it, let's record now, Jesus.
It's just dead air for 2 hours. Oh, we're just waiting.
It's just nothing for 2 hours but like light jazz drumming.
Right. It's fucking like that elevator music.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, thank you so much for joining us again. Guys, you can find us on Facebook. We've got 2 pages. We've got our main page, which is Midnight Double Feature. That's where we post all of our sort of updates and things like that, and when we release episodes. We also have the After Party. 3 words, the After Party, and that's our group. So basically, that's where we post all our news and memes and basically all our other hijinks and shit. And that's also where we announce our next episodes that are coming up. So, if you had any thoughts on Whiplash, your opportunity is missed to get those thoughts in. But hey, if you join that page and you see what we post for the next film, then feel free to go ahead and comment. We're also on Instagram, which is at Midnight Double Feature, and we're on Twitter, which is at MDF Pod. But look, without any further ado, let's fucking get right into this bitch. Colin, what do you think of Damien Chazelle's Whiplash?
What the fuck do you think I think? This is a fucking fantastic movie. You fucking piece of shit. No, I'm just kidding. That's my best Terrence impression.
Terrence Fletcher.
Yeah. No, I love this movie. This is today was only the second time that I've watched it. I just thought it was fantastic, the first time that I'd seen it, but it was just really odd. I saw it once, never bought it, never watched it again, but I've also never seen it streaming anywhere, which is really odd. I've never seen it pop up on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime,
It's streaming for us.
Oh, shit. See, I had to rent it, which, it's absolutely worth the rent. It's absolutely worth the buy. I will probably say that I think this is, if more movies need to be like this, honestly, this is one of the best movies made in the last 10 or 15 years. I think it's really, really, really well done. Especially when you take someone, Damien Chazelle, he hadn't really directed anything before this, right? He wasn't real big.
Right.
I know he did this as a short film originally, but
right. Well, this was his first film, so I guess while we're here, he couldn't get funding for Whiplash, so he made it a short film, and he submitted that to Sundance, and it did fantastically at Sundance. And then he got a financing of $3 million, and he made this.
Yeah. Do you know who Andrew is in the original short film? Have you seen the original short film?
I haven't, no, but J.K. Simmons is in the original, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so is the original core drummer. I think Carl is his name, the guy who can't,
yep.
Yeah, he's in it as well. The original Andrew is Johnny Simmons, which might not ring a bell, but that's young Neil from Scott Pilgrim.
Oh shit!
Yeah, right. And they said in the end, it actually came down between Miles Teller and Simmons, and they said they just went with Teller because he was a bigger actor, and B, he could actually play drums, which we'll get into a little bit. But I was like, man, that kind of sucks because you've got literally 2 or 3 of the same actors from the short film, and I was like, and I'm sure this guy was like, I'm going to be in the big one, right? It's like, not quite.
Yeah, that's awkward.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't mind Miles Teller. I think he does a good job in this. I think he can play that obsessive compulsive character, this Captain Ahab white whale kind of shit really well. But I would not mind for a minute watching the Johnny Simmons version of this. Watching the short film. I didn't watch the whole thing. But watching what I watched, he's great. He was really, really good in it, especially from the only thing I really know him from is young Neil and Scott Pilgrim, and he's kind of just like a supporting character in that. I
remember him from The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't actually.
Pretty decent.
Is that the one where Emma Watson? She's got short hair in that.
Yeah, and Ezra Miller.
Oh, Emma Watson with short hair.
I know. As soon as he asked me, as soon as he confirmed the short hair, I was like, oh, here we go.
Mm-hmm. Right up my alley. But no, I really, really, really love this movie. But it's odd. It's not like, oh my God, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's fucking really, really, really well done, but it's just personally not one of my favorites. This is something, for a movie that's an hour and 45 minutes long, holy shit, does this feel a lot longer than that. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think this falls in line with a lot of movies that we've been covering lately. Nightcrawler, Prisoners, even stuff like It Follows, Zodiac. It has this feeling, you know what this feels like? It feels like The Social Network and It Follows had a baby.
Glad you said that. I'll bring up Social Network in my thoughts.
Okay, thank God. But just there's the choices of, A, we're on a college campus, but B, the environment around him, and how one thing that I love about this is when you notice the people around him all the time are just like blurs. They're just blurs. And I think they're supposed to be blurs because Andrew is he's just so narrow-sighted on his goal that everything around him is just second, it just plays second fiddle, to make a musical pun. But it's everything's kind of put on the back burner around him except for this. Andrew is literally in every scene of this movie. In fact, I read something where Jason Reitman, the director of Thank You for Smoking, and he's doing the Ghostbusters reboot. He actually had to kind of convince Damien Chazelle to leave a scene out where it was just Fletcher and like in his apartment by himself, because he's like, dude, if you need to leave it out because the less we know about him, the more mysterious and terrifying that he's going to be. And I thought that was a really, really good call. But I fucking really, really love this movie. I think it's just another one of those kind of like Prisoners and Zodiac and Nightcrawler that just flew under the radar. Even though I think it won a couple of Oscars, didn't it?
Yeah, it won 3.
Right. But it's so crazy because you and I had this conversation off air when you first brought it up, and you were like, see, I don't think this is this big here, or, where you live. And it's decently big where I'm at, but it's still one of those things where like not everybody has seen it. And it's such a crime. I think it just needs, it needs more exposure. I mean, hell, they've shot this thing for like 3 million and it made like 48 back. Like that's incredible. But see, here in the States in its opening weekend, I think it only made like 100 to 200 grand. It did not make that much, but the cumulative worldwide box office was, it just destroyed. So I think this is another one of those movies like Prisoners or something where I talk about people not really having like the patience to sit through something like this. But I grew up around a lot of drummers. Both my brothers are drummers. They're really good drummers. They were both drummers in bands. I think my dad fiddled around with the drums a little bit. But like we always had a drum set in our house growing up till I was like 12 or 13. Always had one, in our house. And I can play the drums okay. I'm actually, I can keep a very simple beat and maybe things that get a little bit more complicated, but I'm nothing to write home about, like I can play We Will Rock You by Queen really, really fucking well. But I think that especially being from Nashville and being around Music City and stuff, this movie hit like really close to home for me of the people who are like obsessive, like the amount of people that move to my city from like all over the world because this is Music City are these type of people, are these obsessive compulsive kind of people, and it may be obsessive compulsive in the thought, but they don't put the work in like this guy does. Which, I don't think it's a good thing how much work he puts into this is kind of insane. We can get into that, but all in all, I love this movie. It really hits close to home for me. And I love the simplicity of it. The color grading is fantastic. It's so well done. And it's got this great David Fincher, almost, I don't know, a David Fincher kind of, I was going to say somebody else, but I was thinking Fight Club, Zodiac, Social Network, and I was like, oh, wait, those are all David Fincher. But it's got
I get what you mean with the cinematography for sure, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. But I love this movie. I think it's horribly underrated, even though it's won some Oscars. I really think that this needs to get out there as like one of the best movies that's come out in the last 10 to 20 years, especially for an original screenplay, and something it's not huge and action packed, and somehow even without that, it's a nail biter, and that's a testament. That's a fucking testament that I don't hear anybody talking about, is the fact that this is just one man's obsession that becomes your obsession by the end of this, and they do such a fucking great job. But what about you? What do you think about this?
I'm about to drop a bomb on you, dude. This is in my top 10 of all time.
Nice.
Dude, I fucking adore this movie. Okay, a little bit about me. I am not musically inclined. I've never played any instruments. I'm very unlike you in that way, dude. Like I don't know how to read sheet music or anything. Like I am coming into it completely cold. So when I watched this in 2014, and look, the reason I watched it was because it was kind of getting Oscar hype. It was nominated for Best Picture. J.K. Simmons was like, people were talking about J.K. Simmons, and I was like, all right, let's go let's go watch this. You know, it's drumming though. Ugh. All right, fine. Like I was an idiot. Like I just fucking walked into it with that mentality because I'm like, drumming doesn't really interest me, but like let's go check it out. And man, like I sat there engrossed for the entire hour and 40, and I walked out and I was just like, man, that probably is the best film I've seen all year. So yeah, man, it just completely engrossed me from start to finish. And dude, I gotta disagree with you. I think it doesn't feel long enough. I think
Really?
this movie, yeah, I think this movie flies by like at a fucking clip, dude. Like, it doesn't waste a minute. By the way, the 100 minutes of runtime, like it uses it really well. In my opinion, I just think like
I was just going to say,
yeah, I'm never bored. I'm never bored. Like I love it, dude. Like it's just he does such a fantastic job of like just setting up these two characters, and that's all it is. It's just two characters. Like you've got supporting, like Nicole, the girlfriend, and the father, but it's really just about these two. And the way it's shot, the way it's written. You mentioned The Social Network, so. Yeah, man, a lot of this feels like The Social Network because, like you said, the David Fincher element of it, the way it's kind of like shot and like it just feels like a bit, although it's a simple story, it just feels a little larger than life. But B, the writing, it feels like it's written by Aaron Sorkin. Do you know Aaron Sorkin?
oh, that name is so familiar.
Yeah, so he wrote Social Network. He wrote that Steve Jobs movie for Michael Fassbender. He wrote The West Wing. He created The West Wing. So all of his movies are kind of like you might have. I think Family Guy did like a little sketch about him. Like basically he's famous for doing the walk and talk sort of stuff. And
yeah.
Yeah, so like his scripts always have kind of like a very witty element to them and things like that, and the characters just shoot comebacks here and there like all the fucking time, and there is definitely like situations in this movie where that happens 100%, man. But yeah, man, like dude, Before this movie, I liked J.K. Simmons. I was like, man, this guy's pretty good. I haven't seen him in too much stuff. I mean, obviously the Spidey, like the 3 Spidey movies in the early 2000s and all that. But I'd never seen him anything that blew my fucking socks off, dude. And then, man, well, like his first scene in this, I was just like, damn, he's just got a presence to him, Man, J.K. Simmons, if he didn't win the Best Supporting Actor fucking Oscar for this year for this movie, there would have been riots, and he definitely took it out, man. Like that movie. Oh, sorry, his performance in this is absolutely incredible. By the way, man, he's fucking jacked.
Yeah, Lindsay was like, "Is he always that ripped?" And I was like, "See, I'm not sure because like he looks like a guy who keeps himself in pretty good shape, but he's got that tight black shirt on. So I'm like, well, that helps. But like still, this guy, I mean, you know who he would have been perfect as, speaking of Spider-Man? The Vulture. He would have been great. He would have been a great Vulture. The whole time I'm looking at him, I'm like, dude, you're fit. Damien Chazelle needs to direct a horror movie because this is fucking like just his shots are very ominous. That got that great David Fincher kind of ass thing. But then also J.K. Simmons needs to get in some kind of horror movie because I think he could do it so well. Not something like fucking Friday the 13th or something like that, but something like It Follows or this modern renaissance of horror we're getting. He would crush it, man.
He definitely would. Dude, J.K. Simmons, there was like behind the scenes photos a couple of years back of him like getting into shape for Commissioner Gordon. Even though they cut him out of fucking most of Justice League, and we probably won't see him as Commissioner Gordon again. Dude, he actually is in really good shape. Like you talked about that black shirt that he wears, like that's definitely not an accident. Like that's something that Damien Chazelle wanted, like to kind of create this more imposing figure. Which definitely helps, which definitely works. Let's talk about Damien Chazelle for a sec. So, like we said, first movie, he did the short before this. Have you seen his next movie, La La Land?
No.
Okay, so I walked into that movie with the same mentality of this movie. Oh, it's a fucking musical. Here we go. Man, that movie is in my top 20.
Really?
Yeah, man. Like this guy just knows how to make film. Like that's like if you take away the musical elements of it, and look, the musical elements of that are fantastic. I'm not a big musical fucking guy. But man, like the way it's shot technically, the way it's edited. By the way, this movie won best editing as well. That's another one of the Oscars.
It absolutely should have. Yeah.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. It's just he just has such a passion for filmmaking, and you can definitely see it in those two movies. He also made First Man, which came out last year with Ryan Gosling. That's the Neil Armstrong one. That also is very fantastic, man. That delves into a lot of like the human emotion side of stuff, space travel and all that. And I was really curious to see how that went because it's his first sort of like non-musical, I guess, movie. And it went fantastically, man. I'm really excited to see what else he does because this guy popped up on scene first before Denis Villeneuve popped up on my radar. And I was like, man, where are all these like directors coming out of, man? Like they're just coming out of the woodwork. And honestly, like it's so awesome to get these like sort of like new, I guess this new generation, this new guard of like directors. He was only, because Damien Chazelle was only he was in his early 20s when he made this movie. Like,
yeah, he's a really, really young guy.
Yeah. And like that is just so, I mean, like I don't really have that kind of like, I don't have any ambition to get into filmmaking, but that is so inspirational. Like just to make something of this caliber at that early of an age is just fucking outstanding, dude.
No, absolutely, dude. It's very inspiring when you hear stuff about this guy or like how Tarantino, was going to make Reservoir Dogs. And it's like, man, somebody that young who just like lightning strikes and they just fucking knock it out of the park. But actually, what's funny is, just to interrupt you for just a second, like,
yeah.
I have had ideas before. I am a bit of like very amateur like screenwriter. I've hardly ever finished anything that I've written, but my idea has always been what happened here and From Dusk Till Dawn. The script was written. There wasn't any money for it. They shot it into a short film. They passed it around. What do you know? It got big. They got the funding, made a full feature length. And now that is so easy to do. You could make a short film, put it on YouTube, start an Indiegogo and a Kickstarter, and boom, there's your funding and you're good to go. And you don't even have to go.
The same thing happened for District 9. Like he made a short film about District 9 before District 9.
Yeah,
Peter Jackson picked it up.
It's a fantastic idea. And not only that, you get to stay away from the studio fucking bullshit politics of stuff. And that's fantastic. I'm such a strong supporter of that idea of people who want to see the movie putting their money up. I've thrown money to several stuff that I was like, dude, this has to get made. This is a fantastic idea. And I hope that kind of becomes the norm later on. Like, so you can get these people who are smaller groups. Like, imagine if Hellboy 3 were like, hey, we want to make Hellboy 3, but you guys are going to have to help us fund it. Holy shit, dude. It would have worked. I think it totally would have worked.
It would have.
I don't think for Guillermo del Toro, they would have had enough money to raise what he wanted. He wanted something absurd, but still, I was like, man, anything can get. I think The Void was like that. Another one of my favorites is like, man, that it's so possible these days, and you're exactly right to say when it's just so inspiring.
Totally, dude. I guess another example, a more common example would be fucking Steven Spielberg made Jaws at 27.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Jesus Christ, dude. How do you do that? But yeah, man, I love this movie. I love the simplicity of it. I just love, it's this really, what I was doing when I started this sort of like monologue of me explaining my thoughts on this movie. I'm trying to say that, like, although I'm not musically inclined, this movie does such a fantastic job of putting everything out there and making it relatable to everyone. Like, everyone that I know, everyone that I look up to, everyone that I'm friends with has some sort of ambition, right? Or some sort of, like, some level of, I want to be something one day. I want to achieve this. I want to achieve that. Like, So this movie, man, like they do such a good job of like taking that element of it and making it relatable to everyone. It doesn't just have to be about musicians or drumming or anything like that. So, man, it's just so fantastically well done. And it's really tough for me to compare this to any other movie. But if I had to, I would compare this movie to fucking Full Metal Jacket.
That's interesting.
You've seen that, right?
I have not.
Oh, okay.
I've never seen it.
It would remind me. It reminds me of the first half of Full Metal Jacket. So, I'm not gonna fully spoil it for you, because you do need to watch it. But the first half of Full Metal Jacket takes place at the training camp of like the Marines fucking training camp, right? And basically, you've got the gunnery sergeant, played by Ali Ermi, who just passed away recently. That's really sad. I love that dude. And basically, he's trying to beat these fucking Marines into shape using psychological warfare. His whole thing is like, I have to push these fucking recruits and see who washes out and who doesn't wash out, and I'm going to beat them and beat them and beat them and torment them and torment them and torment them, and whoever survives is fucking perfection. Like, that is this movie. That is Terrence Fletcher, if anything. So,
yo, absolutely.
Yeah, man. I fucking adore this movie. I'm really keen to get into it, dude. But yeah, man, what do you say we get into this bitch?
Well, let's do it, man.
Hell yeah. I love the way this movie fucking opens, dude. Just you get those logos, and it's like black screen with the drum beats, and then boom, like we get this wide shot of just Andrew going absolutely at it. And in walks fucking Terrence Fletcher, who wants to know more about Andrew, saying that he's looking for players. But dude, like, Fletcher is like immediately intimidating. Like, you know, he's just like, then why did you stop playing?
Yeah, especially when you look and we see Andrew, he's got this light coming down on him. He's wearing a white shirt. Like he's just very well lit. So when you see Fletcher come walking in, he's come walking in from the shadows. He's completely covered in black. He's fucking bald. No
like
hair
a
on his
specter of death.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Like, this guy is so close to looking like William Sadler and Bill and Ted, who plays the Grim Reaper. I'm like, dude, if you just slap some white paint on this motherfucker, because all he has is eyebrows, you know?
Right. But yeah, I love how he gets him to go faster on the double tie swing. He looks up and he's just kind of gone. Like you know, okay, look, like I said, not musically inclined, but every piece of everything that Teller and like everyone else plays in this movie, I'm just like, oh yeah, that sounds good. That actually sounds really good. And fucking Terrence Fletcher's like, fuck you. Yeah, that's terrible.
Right. Yeah. It's like, dude, to the untrained ear, this sounds great. But then, like, I've been in a band. I've got a keyboard here. I've got a bass. I love playing the bass. It's my go-to instrument. But I have a friend of mine who, Chris, who actually helped write he pretty much wrote the bulk of our theme song for this podcast. He has perfect ear. He can tune anything just by ear, and he's like, that's flat. And I'm like, are you sure?
Wild.
He's like, I know. He's like, it's flat. But dude, he can play drums, guitar, bass. He can sing. He can scream. He can play keyboards. Like, he can do anything. And it's like, holy hell. And like, he is that level of musician that, like, one of the best musicians I've ever met in my life. And I'm like, dude, the guy, whatever he wants to learn, he'll fucking learn it. No problem. Like, I was like, God, that is fucking insane. And I'm sitting there playing half out of tune and I don't even fucking know it, you know, because I don't have that kind of ear. I'm like, holy, like, it's one thing to hear the note and to be able to tune to that, but then to naturally know exactly what that note is supposed to be in your head is phenomenal.
Dude, that's so fascinating, man. It's just kind of like this Android level of, like, you know, being so dialed into it. Like, can you imagine? Like, that would be both a fucking gift and a curse. Like, that would annoy the fuck out of me as well if I had that.
Right.
Like, if I'm just like listening to sounds all day and shit.
We used to call him the boy with the golden ear.
Lovely. So Andrew goes to the cinema. He's a regular because this super cute chick behind the counter asks him if he's getting Swedish fish.
I don't want to go past real quick when Fletcher leaves and he comes back and he's like, oops daisy.
The jacket.
He just grabs his jacket and leaves like, peace.
Dude, he's such a cunt.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
such a cunt. But yeah, we meet Nicole, played by Melissa Benoist. She is Supergirl. That's the only other thing that I've kind of seen her in.
Oh, okay. God,
Yeah,
she's beautiful.
She is, man. She's stunning. But she's really adorable in this as well. Like, she doesn't get that much to do, but yeah, I dig her in this. By the way, these scenes of like him at the cinema, man, like this just throws me back because like the popcorn machine is 100% the exact same, the one that we had as well. Like the popcorn fucking buckets, that design, same shit that we had. It all kind of just throws me back, you know, like to our old days. Man. Also, do you guys have Maltesers?
Maltesers?
Yeah, it's kind of like this chocolate. Like you guys don't have it?
It's not ringing a bell.
All right, so Maltesers, if I had to describe them, they're like little balls, like with like a malted kind of like milky sort of center, and they're surrounded by like chocolate, right?
Like milk duds?
I don't know what the fuck milk duds are.
See, listeners at home, these are though. It's not religion or politics or whatever. It's like, what? You guys don't have fucking milk duds?
I'm looking at milk duds now. So, it's described as caramel candy. Like these aren't caramel.
Okay.
Yeah, they're more kind of. I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. But basically, man, I remember working at the cinema once, and like people. Someone bought like Maltesers and popcorn, and then they just opened the Maltesers and put them all in the popcorn. And I was like, "Are you? What are you doing right now? Like, what are you
from the Third Reich? What the fuck is wrong with you?"
This person literally came up with the final solution. Like, what are you doing?
I think the closest thing we have to Maltesers is Whoppers. We call them Whoppers here. They almost have like a crunch when you bite into them.
Oh, okay, right. But yeah, yes, malted milk balls. Yeah. I just looked it up. So yeah, that's exactly what it is. All right,
I'm glad we spent so much time on this.
we found some fucking equilibrium. Hell yeah. But then like that became a thing, man. Like fucking our cinema chain started pushing that, and it apparently it is something that people do. So I noticed that they did that with the Raisinets in this scene, and I was just like, man, like it really is a thing. Like, do you do that? Have you seen people do that?
I have seen people do it. No, I don't do it. But if I did do it, sure and fuck wouldn't be with Raisinets. I'm like, what? Like,
isn't
like
that what he says?
Yeah. But it's still it's gross. Like, I don't care if he says it. It's fucking gross. It's like Raisinets. I'm like, dude, maybe like Milk Duds, or maybe like, you know, what your Maltesers, my Whoppers. Maybe something like that, but not Raisinets. Like, that's weird. And I love, not to jump too far ahead, but Paul Reiser's great in this. I love, he's like, what did he say? He's like, oh, I just eat around him. He's like, why didn't you say something? I don't understand you.
But yeah, do you want to also, like, because this is the first kind of like time that we get, let's talk a little bit about Andrew Neiman and like his relationship with his father. It's pretty awkward, isn't it? Like, it's kind of like he doesn't really know how to act with his father. He's just. Do you think he's so dialed into what he wants that he's become really antisocial, or he was always antisocial?
I'm not really sure. I think that I don't know. I think it's a matter of, we know Andrew's mom isn't around. We know that his dad is just a high school, I think, you know, English teacher maybe. So I think that in terms of like, you look at Andrew, he's almost in a weird way this like self-made man, and not saying that 100%, but like there's no musical background, there's no there's nobody pushing him. It's not like, oh my God, my dad's this great musician, blah blah blah. And I think it's just hard for them to find a common ground to relate upon,
to connect.
Right. I never see anything about his dad being obsessive compulsive about being the next great this or that. And maybe he did when he was a younger man, but like not to the degree that Andrew is, you know?
Right. I agree. I just, it's funny because Andrew is so, he to me, he just comes off as like socially awkward. But maybe that's just because he can't find a common ground, or something that he's just not even interested in talking about, really.
Right. Yeah. Especially when your goal is to just be one of the greatest musicians of all time. There's only, the type of person that's going to have that same kind of goal as you, or, they're probably going to be fucking self-absorbed assholes, which Andrew
probably
kind of is.
Fletcher.
Like, exactly. The relationship between Fletcher and Andrew is way more interesting than Andrew and his dad. It's crazy.
And I think Andrew eventually knows that, right? He figures that shit out later.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty sad, to be honest. But so Andrew's dad says that when he gets to be his age, he gets perspective, but Andrew doesn't want perspective. Very important line, I think. The next day at his band practice, the drummers look over and just see the silhouette of Fletcher outside the door. Fucking love that, dude. And I love like how like all of them just kind of like know that it's like, oh, not today. It's not happening today. And like, dude, let's just talk about this. I love how much we've said about the character of Fletcher in 7 minutes. It's been 7 minutes of the movie. He's been in 2 scenes, but we know so much about him already and how revered he is. It's awesome.
Right, yeah, he's got this like mythic kind of lore about him, you know, this bald, ironclad, fucking in black like kind of shit. Like, damn, dude, and just how curt he is for shot. You know, immediately he's like, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, why'd you stop playing? Oh, okay, cool. He starts playing again. He's like, I didn't tell you to start playing again. Right, you're like, holy shit, this guy really sets himself up.
Right. Andrew walks past Fletcher's band. Dude, I love the moment of him spying and the fucking Fletcher just knows that he's there already. Like he's already just looking through. Oh, damn, man. Andrew practices, sweating his ass off. He listens to Buddy Rich as he just looks over at his drum kit and just dreams. And Teller's fantastic in these scenes, man. Like just the dreamer, just being like, man, I wish. Like he kind of. Do you want to talk about Teller for a little bit here?
Yeah, he's a fucking douchebag, dude, from what I've read. Like, he's kind of a cocksucker.
Yeah.
You know, and just for a guy who, I mean, dude, chill out. You're into Divergent and Fantastic Four. Calm down. Like, this is probably the best movie you've made. Might be the best movie you're ever going to be in. Like, to be honest, like, that might be a little early to call, but, like, it's going to be kind of hard to top this movie. And granted, I haven't seen a lot of his stuff. I know he's in like, isn't he in like Project X and like kind of like some teen comedy stuff like coming up?
Very briefly in Project X. It's more of an extended cameo.
Okay, word. Yeah, but the stuff that I've read coming out of his mouth, there's like this Esquire interview where he was just like a fucking huge asshole. That like, you know, and I don't know, you can read that article for yourself and make up your own mind, but he just seems kind of like a cock. And I was like, man, you know, you're not even 30 yet, and you have this huge ego where he's like, you know, I just want to do roles that really separate me from my, you know, my peers and stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Plenty of people do that, but like, dude, you're not fucking Jake Gyllenhaal. Like, you're not that good yet. Like, you're nowhere near that. And I think it's fine to have that kind of ambition, but he talks shit about the movies that he talks shit about Fantastic Four. He talks shit about the Divergent series. What's crazy is he's talking shit about the first Divergent movie and then comes back for 2 more. And I was like, dude. Right. Like that doesn't really work that way. A, that's unprofessional as fuck. But then B, it's extremely hypocritical to do that. And you know, he's been compared to John Cusack a lot, and he was just like, no. He's like, I don't want to be John Cusack. I don't want to be this like guy who is unattractive but somehow still ends up getting these lead roles and shit. And I'm like, so you call John Cusack a piece of shit ugly motherfucker? Got it, dude. And like, he just seems kind of like an arrogant little asshole. Which, I mean, maybe that's why he's so great as Andrew. You self-righteous prick.
Also, his face looks like fucking hamburger meat after that car accident that he was in real life.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that, but I didn't know the details of it.
I don't know the details. All I know is that it was like a fucking Mark Hamill sort of situation.
I was just about to say, but dude, Mark Hamill's fucking come out looking beautiful.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, man. Look, I have heard of like the way he carries himself and the way he conducts himself outside of his films, and that does suck. But I mean, like, we're pretty good at this. We're pretty good at like separating the person from the film, which is good, which is what I like. So I love it. To be honest, I love his performance in this, and I'm not bringing any of the fucking shit from his like his press interviews and stuff in it into it. By the way, dude. Fucking Fantastic Four. That is a dumpster fire. Fucking level 9,000.
I still haven't seen it.
Even the director Josh Trank fucking bashed that shit. But like, apparently the director himself was part of the problem too. Like, he was just off the rails. That shit, dude. Check it out, man. It is a sight to behold. It is. Oh man. But anyway, dude. Look, let's get back to it. So at band practice, Fletcher just walks right in, dude. Like, I love he just fucking walks right in. Like, what a total power move. Like, he just puts his coat down. May I? He asks the teacher. He just looks at the notes, takes it all in. Cute. He gets everyone to play. He didn't even fucking give the trumpets a chance, by the way. He's just like, yep, next. One of the guys drops his notes and he's just like, okay, next.
Yeah, that the fucking girl is like, all right, let's see if first characters are good or characters are cute. She gets 2 seconds in. He's like, all right, we know the answer.
He's so fantastic. He's such a great character, but just elevated by his performance, man. So good. Fletcher asks the drummers to play double time swing, and he says, drums with me, calling Andrew and invites him to class. And he's a man of fucking few words, right? Like, he doesn't mince anything. Like, he's just so direct. There's an awesome moment from Teller as well as he sits down and he just kind of like smiles to himself. And then he looks at the fucker next to him that didn't make it, Connolly. Like, that's something that we got to take in. Like that's not an accident. Like, just the way he kind of looks at him and is like, you didn't make it, but I did.
Dude, that's one thing that I wanted to talk about. Okay, so in high school, I was in something called the Performers Chorus. Originally, when I was a freshman in high school, I was in Select Chorus. It's very easy to get into. From that, I auditioned in like 8th grade. They put me into it in 9th grade. And then 9th grade, I auditioned for Performers. 100 or more kids auditioned for this group. Me and one other guy got in. That was it.
Damn, son.
And I was very proud of that. I did it for a year and I fucking quit because I hated those fucking people. Like the amount of ego that is in that room is just disturbing. Like, I couldn't fucking stand it. And everybody in there wanted to be Michael Bublé, Josh Groban, Alicia Keys, or God, what's her name? She's married to Nick Cannon, Mariah Carey. Everybody wanted to be those four. And I'm over here listening to like Jeff Buckley and Queen and Rancid and like a bunch of like a mixed bag of crazy shit, you know? And I felt so out of place in there and not, and that's fine. Everybody has a different taste, but then these people just had such egos about it. I couldn't fucking stand it. The two guys, I was a baritone. There's only 3 of us. And the 2 guys I was with were always arguing over pitch. One guy saying the other one's flat, the other guy saying the other guy's sharp. And they're just trying to sing over each other the whole time in this group. And our chorus teacher, he was a decently nice guy. He was just kind of a fat prick, to be honest. He wasn't as he wasn't as bad as Fletcher is. But this is just a really funny story. I'm in there one day with one of my very good friends, Matt Mills. He's commented and stuff on the show before. He's one of my best friends growing up. But Matt is sitting there and Matt ended up joining the Marine Corps. This was just like an elective for him. You know, it's nothing really crazy, you know, but our chorus teacher wanted us just at like all state level competitive singing and shit. And that's just, you know, not where we were. We just were doing this to have some fun, you know, and I can't remember what happened, but he's like, Mr. Mills, I want you to go put your nose in that corner. And he's like, no. He's like, did you just tell me no? He's like, no, hell no. He's like, oh, fuck you. He's like, I'm not putting my notes in the corner. He's like, I'm 18. He's like, I'm going to Iraq in like a year. He's like, I'm not fucking listening to you. He was an asshole of a guy. A day later, he comes back in. We're talking about this show, this rehearsal. Somebody says, hey, can we have this rehearsal on Tuesday? And our chorus teacher goes, you know, Tuesdays are just really a bad day for me. And without hesitation, Matt's looking down at his phone, looks right at him and goes, it's because you're fat, and looks right back at his phone, dude. And I laughed so fucking hard, dude. It is still one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Without a beat, he just looks up, yeah, it's because you're fat, and just goes right back to what he's doing.
That's awesome.
I had a guy who was not nearly as bad as Fletcher. You know, this guy told me I left like some sheet music behind once, held me out of a performance for that and said, and I couldn't even read sheet music. I just listened to everybody else. You know, I did it by ear. Holds me back out of the performance and says, you know what? I've never met anyone who can't do anything right. And I looked at him and I was like, fuck you. And I went straight to the office and was like, dude, I'm out of this bitch. Take me out of this class. And he begged me. He's like, dude, please stay. I was like, no, you're an asshat, dude. I'm fucking leaving. Like, fuck you and fuck all these people. And I was out, dude. The arrogance of these people. I could not stay in a group like this, dude. And that's what's great about this movie. I related to that so well. It is so palpable. The cutthroat kind of douchebagginess of everyone around Andrew and including in himself. It's just so relatable and so palpable to me.
Well, it's also kind of really sad, right? Like, because like you've worked that hard to get there, and then it's just like when you get there, you're like, well, I'm not loving this. I'm not digging it.
Right.
I'm just gonna fucking quit. Like I worked so hard to get here. In your situation, you beat fucking 98 other people to become like one of the last two, and you're just like, well, this sucks.
Right. It went from being fun to being a job. And as soon as that happens, like some stuff, it's worth it. This was not. And I was like, cool, see ya. Peace out, dude. Bye. Like,
yeah.
and I never regretted that. Not for 1 second.
You mentioned that you couldn't rate sheet music. I thought there was, because I haven't seen this in a while, but I did watch it twice at the movies. I have seen it. I got it on Blu-ray and shit, but I haven't seen this in a while. I thought there was a moment in this where Fletcher finds out that Andrew can't read sheet music, but that doesn't happen. Is there a movie where that does? I can't.
There is a moment where he's like, oh my fucking God, you can't read music, can you? What does that say? Eighth note. What is that? And he can read sheet music, but for a minute you're kind of thinking, oh my God, he can't read sheet music, can he? But he's just kind of, now is that, I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
I've never been able to, dude, Jimi Hendrix, Freddie Mercury, a lot of people not able to read music. Stevie Wonder, I mean, obviously, no, I'm just kidding.
You know what? It took me a second to click because I wasn't like paying attention. I was like reading something.
I fucking love Stevie, dude. He's one of my favorites, but
fucking Ray.
Right, exactly, dude. Some of the greatest musicians in the world can't read music. So fuck all that shit.
That's awesome. He asks out Nicole because now he's got some confidence, I guess. Also, dude, pizza for the first date. Like, I'm down for that shit. That's me.
Yeah, it's casual.
Hell yeah. These two are adorable in this scene, man. Like, I genuinely like, even though there's barely any sort of like chemistry, I do like both of these actors in this scene. Like, they do sell it really well.
Mm-hmm.
After Andrew sleeps in and face plants the fucking stairwell, he turns up to Fletcher's room only to find it empty. He checks the schedule and it says the class was actually scheduled for 9 instead of 6, like Fletcher told him. Pretty cool psychological move, right?
Right, and I think we never see Andrew practicing, but if he doesn't practice in this point, you're a fucking idiot. Like, right. I think that is exactly why he does that to you.
Right. This is also where we meet the drummer that is alternating for, who's kind of a dick, Carl.
Yeah, also in the original short film, yeah.
Yeah. And Andrew tunes his drum for him to a B flat. Milk the cunt!
Yeah, what is that? I don't know. I never understood that. I wonder if that's just, hey, everybody get ready. Because right at 9 o'clock, he's fucking walking in. I was like, oh, right. That's awesome. I love that. So I wonder if it's just them, if that's a traditional thing. They all just kind of, and right when he comes in, they all just chill. Dude. All right, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to say, when I actually was in that performers course that we had, there was some fun warm-ups and shit we would do like that. You take one group of people going, hi-ho, nobody's home, no meat, no drink, no money have I none, still I will be very merry, hi-ho, no. And right in the middle of that, you start another group singing it, and there would be 4 different groups at 4 different time signatures singing this thing, and it sounded incredible. I loved that kind of shit. So what they're doing right here, I was like, that might be some kind of warm-up that they're doing, because we did those all the time. Our first 15 minutes was nothing but like a warm-up, like clearing your throat, getting some water kind of shit.
Yeah, just getting, well, I guess if you guys were getting ready for that, then I mean, if you're getting ready for this guy, then you'd have to be fucking, on the ball,
bending over and grabbing your fucking ankles.
Right, exactly. Also, just while we're here as well, I forgot to mention, Fletcher is loosely based on a teacher that Damien Chazelle had. Like that's yeah, just not as obviously exaggerated or full on as this Fletcher. But yeah, Damien Chazelle is a drummer. Apparently, he's a really good drummer. But yeah, like that, I just thought that was really interesting. But dude, like when Fletcher walks in exactly at 9 a.m., this is like a general entering a room. Like all of the soldiers just kind of like stand to attention. There's just silence. Everyone is just like straight face, looking directly ahead. This is the part of the movie that reminded me of Full Metal Jacket. It's just like this ranking officer just like entering this room and expecting his subordinates to bend over backwards for him. It's fantastic.
Have you ever seen Thank You for Smoking?
Yeah, I have.
Oh my God. I mean, and I think a big part of that and Spider-Man is, these kind of characters that he gravitates towards, but there's a part in that is so fucking good where they're trying to get people to start smoking cigarettes, and Aaron Eckhart's like, we need to get people to start smoking cigarettes in movies. And then J.K. Simmons goes, well, it's not your best idea, but it's a start. And he goes, the rest of you guys go back to your desks and bang your fucking heads against them until something useful comes out. And I was like, God damn it, dude. Like, he's so fucking brutal, man.
He's awesome, dude. He's so commanding, man. It's that voice as well. He's just so competent. I love it. But I love how there's like no hello or anything. He just gets to it, He gets them to play Whiplash. I love the shot of the camera just panning around his sort of like extended hand. Like he's got his hand out to conduct them. And then it's just like that really kind of like long take as the camera swivels around. It's fantastic, man. I don't want to go past the cinematographer for this. I believe he also did La La Land. Fuck me, I'm forgetting his name. I don't want to go past him, but I'm forgetting his name.
Fucking dumb cunt.
Sharon Meyer. Dude, this guy is fucking talented as shit. Have you seen Coach Carter?
No. Was Samuel Jackson?
Yeah. He did Coach Carter as well. Like, that's also pretty fucking solid. But yeah, man, like, we can't go past the cinematography for this movie. As simple as it is, it's just something definitely 100% that we should shout out. But, yeah, so... Parker, that is not your boyfriend's dick. Do not come early.
I know, dude. That's one thing I read about that. When they were writing this, they added a lot of homophobic slurs that it's like, dude, this guy is unredeemable. Like he hits a point where it's like there is, and to the director, in writing this, he said that was the point where it was like, you can be brutal, but now you're being like downright kind of like bigoted in a way. And he's an older guy, and I understand that was a different time in the way that they talked. But nowadays, like, dude, I mean, there probably are some people out here that are maybe as hard as this guy, but like I think that as more and more as time goes on, you can't fucking be like that. Like, no fucking way. Like you'd have your job and your ass handed to you by 5 o'clock. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree. Especially in fucking when this was made, 2014, right? So, he's definitely 100% using the psychological warfare, and like later, even when he gets physical, I'm just like, holy shit! Like this is crazy. Like this is next level kind of pushing people to the limits. So he stops the class because someone's out of tune. Now, either you're deliberately playing out of tune and sabotaging my band, or you don't know you're out of tune, which I'm afraid is even worse. He finds the issue in the read section. There's no fucking Mars bar down there. That's Charlie.
Oh, dude. Can I hit you with a clip real quick?
Yeah, hit me, dude. Hit me.
There's no fucking Mars bar down there. What are you looking at?
That's fucking. There's no fucking Mars down there. What the fuck are you looking at?
He's so good, dude. He just goes ape shit at this kid. And dude, if I was this kid, I'd just fucking lunge at Fletcher. Like I just.
Oh yeah.
Exactly what Andrew does later. I would have done that immediately.
Yeah, when that chorus teacher said that, and I've never met anybody who can't do anything right. I looked right at him and went, "Fuck you!" And the look on his face was like, "What?" It's like, fuck you, dude. I launched into this dude. Like, somebody talks to me like that, like, I would have had him by that Mr. Clean fucking head into the floor any second, dude. I'm like, would have been some male bald on bald action.
Hell yeah, dude. I would have fucking stuck both of those drumsticks up his ass. Like, Oh, man. He tells the class that Metz wasn't out of tune, but he didn't know he wasn't out of tune, and that's bad enough.
Yeah, that's so great, dude.
That is awesome, dude. Like, that is psychological warfare, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Fletcher meets with Andrew. They small talk and chit chat. This is something interesting because it's kind of out of character for Fletcher, isn't it? Like, he seems into it. Like, this is the first time that we've seen him sort of like not be an asshole.
Right. Well, I think it's just anytime he's not in that classroom and he's still like when he's playing jazz later, he's fine. He's talking to that guy and the little girl in the hallway. Totally cool. But it's like once he's in that classroom, he's like, this is the time that you are a piece of marble and I am trying to sculpt something out of you. And if you want to be a work of art after I'm done with this, you're going to have to take the hits. And this is where we do it. We can be friends and shit outside of here, and we can talk shop and have fun and blah, blah, blah. But while you're in here, we don't talk shop. We don't cut up. this is our time to get the shit done. And that's a fucking professional, you know?
That is a professional, but like, man, how do you look at someone? I mean, like, if you're a student and, you know, you walk out of that class and you have this conversation with Fletcher, how do you look at him the same? Like, how do you look at him? Sorry, how do you look at him differently? Like, how do you have a conversation with him and be like, man, this is, I can't talk to this guy the same way because he's just a fucking maniac.
Well, I think that part of it at the end of the day, all these people are, you know, there's a lot of egos and there's a lot of personalities bumping around, but I think there's just kind of this thing you have to understand that, like, this is not personal. Like, we are in a classroom right now. You know, it's kind of like when I'm at work and somebody says something to me and gets on to me about something, you know, there's a tendency for people to take that personally. And it's like, dude, you have to be able to take the criticism, especially when you're at this tier of musicianship and you're in an elite school. You've got to be able to take those punches and not, you know, it's kind of like boxing. It's like, dude, I'm just here to whoop your ass. Like, outside of this, we can go get a beer afterwards, but don't take this fucking personally.
Right. Yeah, I get you. Where are we? So we find out there's no musicians in Andrew's family. And he talks to him about Charlie Parker, how he became Bird because Jones threw a cymbal at his head. And he tells him that he's there for a reason. And you can see it in Andrew's face that he believes it, right? Like, this is Fletcher sowing the seeds into Andrew's sort of head, right? If we didn't know that Andrew was already driven, this pushes him further. So. Back in practice, Andrew's at the wheel now, and they get to playing Whiplash. This is the not quite my tempo scene. This is incredible. One of my favorite scenes in the entire movie, dude.
Right, because he's very nice at first. Not quite my tempo. Let's do it again. And he's just, he's like, all good, no worries, 5, 6, you know, and he's great. But then once you don't get it those 5 or 6 times, he's like, dude, what's going on? Like, dude, that's enough. It starts
to get more and more aggressive, right?
Well, especially once somebody starts clapping that out for you, that's like literally grabbing somebody's hand on a pen and paper and having to show them how to write. And that's kind of humiliating in a way. Like, that's like, dude, you obviously can't keep time, so let me keep time for you.
Right. When Fletcher finally backs off after so many stop and starts, he just casually hurls a fucking chair at Andrew. Like, that's our first level of, like, physicality. And we're just like, holy shit, this is something else. Like, this is not just teaching, right? And
I also want to, you know, the big story here is this guy getting the cymbal thrown at his head. And it's like, that was like the big what the fuck moment, you know, at this guy's life that turned him into this amazing musician. And it's kind of the same for Andrew, but that was like the last time that guy had something like that happen. This is right at the very beginning of Andrew's career with this dude. And it's like, holy shit, this is just what was the end for this guy is just the beginning for you. Like, that should be a sign.
Right. Fletcher wants Andrew to tell him whether he was rushing or dragging. Slaps his face, dude. Apparently real slap.
Yeah, they said legit. They tried miming it and it just didn't work, you know?
Yeah. And the way this is shot is awesome, dude. I love just, like, we get so many, like, close-ups. Like, it seems claustrophobic. And, like, the lighting in this scene is fantastic, too. Also, we've also moved to a handheld camera, which is a great way to, I guess, be a bit more immersive in it. One of my favorite lines in the entire movie, if you deliberately sabotage my bed, oh, fuck you, like a pig.
Yeah.
I love his enunciation, dude. It's fantastic. Also, can you say retard? Can you still do that, JK? I'm not sure.
Oh, dude, like, this guy gives a fuck.
I know. So many quotes here, dude. What are you, in a fucking a cappella group? He gets Andrew to admit to the whole band that he's upset. You're a worthless, friendless, faggot-lipped little piece of shit whose mommy left daddy when she figured out he wasn't Eugene O'Neill and who is now weeping and slobbering all over my drum set like a fucking 9-year-old girl. So for the final father-fucking time, say it louder.
I am fucking upset.
Oh, dude. Just an incredible sequence, man. This movie has no bullets fired, no bombs detonated, but it is such an action-packed film. I love it. I love it. We see Andrew dealing with the aftermath. He lets his dad's phone call go to voicemail, and he starts practicing, right? Like, this is a decisive moment. This is kind of like the quit or be better sort of like situation. Like, he could have, if he quit, he could have been healthy mentally, I guess, right?
Yeah, this is kind of like the shit or get off the pot like kind of moment.
Right, exactly. He just covers up his blisters and powers through. I love the shot of the symbol in the foreground, like blurred out, and you can just see like Teller just hammering it away in the background, like the sweat just pouring from his hair.
And also, I mean, for what we said about Miles Teller, he was already a competent drummer, but then he's practicing like 15 hours a week to get down. And like jazz and metal drummers are some of the best drummers in the world. They really are. They like Gene Krupa, Buddy Rich that they're talking about. Even personally, one of my favorite drummers is a guy named Darren King. He drummed for a band called Mute Math, one of my favorite bands. I've met him like 4 times. He's really, really, really nice. He is one of the best drummers I've ever seen live or ever in any form or capacity. He's fucking fantastic. A really kind of interesting story is when I first met him, my dad was, my brothers and I, we would go on this website called drummersworld.com. And we would watch like Neil Peart from Rush, who's considered to be one of the best drummers of all time. Travis Barker from Blink-182 is extremely good. We'd watch all these drum solos these guys did. And our dad was like, oh, you need to check out Gene Krupa. And Gene Krupa is fucking incredible. He's right up there with like Buddy Rich. He's a fucking amazing drummer. But when I met Darren King from Mute Math, my dad had actually just passed away. And I was talking to Darren King and I was like, I always wonder who's your favorite drummer? And he goes, oh, Gene Krupa. And I was like, wow, that's fucking crazy. And it was so weird, man. So because he had literally just like the month before. And I was like, that's so odd. But he's such a nice guy. Mute Math, great band. Darren King, extremely, extremely good drummer.
Dude, I was listening to an interview with who'd you just say was the Blink-182 drummer? Barker?
Travis Barker.
Travis Barker. Yeah, sorry. I was listening to an interview with him. And man, I have so much more respect for drummers after listening to that, man. Just like all of the fucking injuries that he's copped over the years.
Oh yeah,
man. Like it's actually wild. It's insane.
He like broke a leg on one tour and had to switch and learn how to play left-handed.
Yeah,
and he got into that plane wreck where DJ AM died, who's actually an Iron Man 2. It's really crazy, but he bounced right back from that. And it's like, dude has been in a lot of fucking side projects as well.
Crazy dude. He has dinner with Nicole. By the way, she does not have a Jay Leno fucking chin. She's like marriage material. Like, come on, dude. God,
yeah, come on. She's fucking gorgeous.
But I think one of the important stuff, like again, it kind of hammers it home. Andrew is not good at this. Like, he's not very good at socializing or talking to people who aren't Fletcher. Right?
Right. They don't have like a goal. They're not driven to like, this is what I want to do. Like, but see, the thing is, they're just like on so opposite ends of the spectrum. He's so obsessed with what he's doing, but but she doesn't even know what she wants to do, yet alone be thrust into it the level that he is. So I'm like, dude, this is like doomed to start with.
And you know what? I'm not going to go into detail. I've kind of been in that situation before, like in a relationship where it's just like, because I have goals, I have ambition, I want to be something one day, and the other person was just like, well, I don't know, I guess I'll just chill. Like, I'm just like, I don't know how people do that sometimes.
And I'm not gonna lie, that's it's attractive when someone's like, I'm doing this, and this comes first, and this is my life, and this is my career, and this is what I'm doing, and if this works out, that's great. And like I've definitely had relationships like that before, because you don't want to hold that person back from accomplishing the thing that they wanted to do before you were ever even in the picture.
Yeah, man. I just like complacency to me is just, I don't know. It's a bit weird.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I want to be working towards something, like even with this podcast, dude. Like, I like that we never get complacent. We're always trying to aim higher. We're always trying to, improve. We're always trying to do better things with it. I don't know. Like, if we get complacent, if I get complacent, then I get bored, and I don't want to be bored. So
very rarely do we look at each other and go, "Good job."
Right.
We're always like, this can be better. We can do this. Let's work on this. Blah blah blah. Like
constructive criticism.
Right. Exactly.
She gets defensive about his school, Fordham, before telling Andrew that she doesn't love it there, and that she feels homesick sometimes. He says that he still goes to the movies with his dad as a fucking derogatory dude. Like, I'm like, hey, fuckwit, I do that too. Like, what of it?
Yeah. Some of us would love to go to the movies with our dad, Andrew. Like, some of us used to do that all the time. No, I'm just kidding. No, yeah. When I heard that, I looked at Lindsay. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with going to the movies with your dad? Like, like, what's wrong with that?
Right. Oh, Jesus. We cut to the Overbrook Jazz competition. Andrew witnesses Fletcher talking to a young girl named Ava. This is awesome, dude. I love seeing Fletcher in these kinds of moments when he's like not in front of like people that he's trying to push, when he's not in front of people that he doesn't have to act like a fucking asshole to. This humanizes him. He's really nice to her and a father. Like, you can see that it gives Andrew a little bit of like hope. Like, Andrew smiles is like, that's really nice.
Yeah, no, for sure. I was just about to say the exact same thing. You can, it humanizes him. You can empathize a little bit more.
For sure. But immediately after that, fucking that's all shattered. Listen up, cocksuckers.
Dude, can I hit you with another clip?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
By a bunch of fucking limp dick, sour note, flattered on their girlfriend's flexible tempo dipshits. Got it? One more thing. Eugene, give me that. If I ever find one of these lying around again, I swear to fucking God, I will stop being so polite. Get the fuck out of my sight before I demolish you.
Oh, that's so fucking good, dude. He doesn't even look at the dude. He just points at him, dude.
I love it, man. I love it. He's so outstanding. The band play for the judges as Andrew looks on, sitting as the alternate drummer. And during the break between sets, Andrew's primary drummer, what's his name again? Jesus Christ.
Carl,
Jesus Christ. Tells him to hold on to his notes, but Andrew loses the folder. I just wrote Tanner, because Carl Tanner, I guess.
Right, dude. This is something interesting. I read a little bit about this. It was who loses the folder. Like, there's a theory that it's it's most certainly not Andrew, because I mean we see everything from his perspective, and it's probably not Tanner because his reaction is so palpable. I 100% think that it's Terrence. 100%. Yeah, I do, because when he tells him he loses the music, he doesn't explode. Like, he should explode. He should like
he's already expecting it. Yeah. Right.
And then the thing is, when Tanner's talking to him, he says, "You know this. I need visual cues." And I think that this is a test for Andrew. He's like, I want to see how you can perform under pressure. And he passes, and ultimately, okay, cool. We're on to the next mission. Here we go. I think 100% that's what happens. And it sucks because then people are looking sideways at Andrew thinking you're trying to sabotage me. But I 100% think that it's Fletcher.
Dude, you know what? I've never really thought about it. And
I didn't either. I had to read about that. I'm not that smart. But
that's incredible, because like that absolutely lines up with Fletcher's mission, right?
Right. And I mean, and Tanner even says, "I have a medical disorder. You know this. I have to have a visual cue." And I'm like, oh shit. Like, yeah, he does. He must know that. Well, and right before this, like we just said, Fletcher has this, if I see another one of these lying around, like, it's like, why would you point that out? And the next scene, we have this happen. Yeah. If they aren't, that's not a fucking coincidence, man.
God damn, that's awesome. I legitimately had not put that much thought into it. I honestly just thought maybe some fucking asshole took it, but holy shit, you're probably right. And that just adds a whole nother layer to it. That's fucking awesome, man.
What are you saying? You have a fucking medical condition? What are you, Sanjay Gupta?
If you give a calculator to a retard, he's going to try and turn on a TV with it. Oh man. Tanner says he can't go on stage because he doesn't know the charts off by heart. But dude, I love Andrew just using this to his advantage. It's so awesome, saying that he knows Whiplash by heart, every fucking measure.
You better fucking hope you remember he doesn't fail you.
Awesome, dude. The band kicks off the second set, and this time Andrew is the primary drummer. They play Whiplash as Fletcher's conducting. As Fletcher is conducting, he barely takes his eyes off Andrew. He's just fucking like looking straight through him. And Schaefer win first place. At practice, Tanner tells Andrew not to touch his kit, but Fletcher walks in and just casually says, "Tanner, it's core only. I don't have time for alternates today. Don't forget to turn Neiman's pages."
Oh, dude. Man. I mean, for one thing, the guy, when he walks in, he's like, "Hey, man, don't touch my fucking folder." I would look at him and be like, "Fuck you. Stick to your keys, bitch."
Fuck you, asshole.
Right. But then, I mean, especially the thing is, Fletcher walks in like Tanner should know that he is the alternate now. Like he walks in like, dude, where you been? This happened 2 hours ago. Get the fuck out of the chair. And then also like, don't forget to turn Neiman's pages is such a, oh my God, that is a fucking big fucking baller move, dude. Like, holy shit. Like
so awesome.
That's like punching somebody in the face and say, now say fucking thank you.
Dude,
it's like, holy shit.
I love it. Andrew chats to his dad, who confirms that Fletcher's opinion means a lot to him. And this scene's interesting, actually, because we don't get too much on Andrew's sort of like extended family. But it's cool. So over the family dinner, the family fawn over the achievements of Dustin, Andrew's brother. And I love like how Andrew's just kind of like a bit more of an afterthought. And Andy, with your drumming.
See, yeah, I didn't know who these guys were. I thought they were like cousins or like a family.
I thought it was brother.
Okay, I was just wondering because I was like, this is really odd. Who are these fucking guys? Because you have this other couple in here. I was like, maybe this is like aunt and uncle. You know, they call him Andy. I'm like, okay, they wouldn't call him Andy unless it's like a family thing. You know?
Yeah, definitely family. Because Andrew, he's got that kind of like, he wants to impress them. Like that's, and you wouldn't really be doing that. Oh, you could be doing that for family friends, I guess. But I think it means more if it's family, to be honest. But yeah,
yeah, I think so too.
But yeah, like he's trying really hard to impress them. Like, why? This is interesting. Like, this whole kind of like brings into, like, this ushers in a conversation. Like, why go to this effort to learn and master this art if you're not going to enjoy the fruits of that labor? I guess. Like, you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying here?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Like you're kind of saying like, when you're getting this far in, like, who wouldn't want to be the best at it, you know?
Right, exactly, and not being recognized for it. Like people who do not understand drumming, who do not understand music, who I guess understand the more conventional achievements, like, you know, being a football player or something like that, and just unable to appreciate the level that Andrew's at. Like, I can see how that would be infuriating.
Well, yeah, like you play a sport and you're relying on a lot of other people to cover something for you so you can be successful. It's all on Andrew. Like, dude, like these other people around you, these musicians, they will do their job. But if they do their job better, that's not really going to help you do your job better. Like, it's not one of those things where, like, in chorus, there's a lot of times I didn't know what the fuck we were doing. I was like, dude, I'm following this guy. Like, I can't read music. I'm sitting here holding the sheet. Right. It might as well be fucking like Arabic. I don't know any of this shit. I have no idea. I love, you know, this whole conversation, you know, being dead and broke and, you know, dying at 34 of a heroin overdose, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, well, Charlie Parker didn't really have any friends. Like, yeah, none of us were friends with Charlie Parker, but here we are talking about him. I'm like, God, that's so good. This dialogue is fucking great. Back and forth, man.
This is the moment where I said this is very Aaron Sorkin. Like, this is very, like, if you watch Social Network, like, that dialogue is exactly like this.
You think Carlton football is a joke? Come play with us. 4 words you will never hear from the NFL. I'm like, good.
Yes, exactly.
I wish it would cut to like that Vine of like all the black dudes like, oh,
love it.
That's such a savage fucking burn, dude.
That, like, it is next to that line that I wrote. This is so Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah.
But I love how it starts. Like, because Teller's outstanding here. It's not even Division 2. It's Division 3. Like, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, like I love that line. I'd rather die drunk, broke at 34, and have people at a dinner table talk about me than live to be rich and sober at 90 and nobody remember who I was. Like, that's fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm. I can relate to that, man. I honestly can.
I dig it. And Andrew just leaves the dinner. Hard cut to fucking like, dude, there are some really cool like scene transitions, like the editing moments. Because he leaves that dinner and then it's like hard cut to him like drumming like before the practice or during the practice.
Well, yeah, and then he's like, all right, cool, you guys get out of here, pick up your sheet music at the door, rehearsal at 9 o'clock. You have by then to memorize it. I'm like, God damn, dude.
Wild. Fletcher gets Andrew to stay back after practice. He tells him about the double time swing. He calls in Connolly, Andrew's former bandmate, right? And
man.
so begins the fucking Hunger Games. I love the professional kind of rivalry between the two that slowly starts to build. Like when Connolly asks to borrow Andrew's stick, Andrew just looks at Fletcher in like amazement.
Well, yeah, and like, dude, that is kind of like, you showed up here and you don't have a fucking pair of sticks on you. What the hell is that, man? Like, that's like a guitar player not having a pick. Like, what are you doing here, dude?
Yeah. Fletcher loves Connolly's work, tells him that he's going to be the new core. Andrew's pissed, and Fletcher takes a call. And dude, how about this for salt in the wounds? Connolly says that Andrew shouldn't worry about Fletcher, he's more bark than bite. What the fuck do you know?
Right, yeah. It's like, dude, I'm the one who's been in here, like, being the fucking core right now. Like, and I feel like this scene is so... It's so quickly done that it's like, dude, of fucking course that this guy is nothing but... You know, he's nothing but competition. He's not anything but to inspire Andrew. You know what I mean?
Right. He's like, and that, like, let's talk about that, dude. Fucking Fletcher will stop at nothing. Like, he will destroy Connolly's dreams. Like, you know, he will give him hope, like false hope that is like, oh, okay, maybe, you know, I'm good enough to be something. But really, I'm just using you to inspire the person that I really like. Like, think about that kind of level of manipulation.
Right, yeah, that's fucking shitty, man.
Yeah. Andrew tries to reason with Fletcher, but Fletcher yells at him, telling him that he's not going to deal with this right now. If he wants the part, he has to earn it. Hard cut to fucking Andrew breaking up with Nicole, dude, saying that she's most likely going to get in the way of his aspirations.
Well, and is this where we see the phone call that Fletcher gets about the...
Yeah, he's already done that, yeah.
Okay, make sure.
Yeah. I want to be great. I want to be one of the greats. And the crazy part is that, like, he knows all of this for certainty. Like, that she's going to present him and, like, you know, he's come up with this massive... Like, he's done a lot of thinking, right?
Right, yeah. I mean, he's just saying, you don't even know what you want to do, and I'm, like, going 90 in the opposite lane, you know? I mean, as much as of an asshole as he is, kind of makes sense, man.
Right. Melissa Benoist is awesome here. And then we get this kind of like drumming practice montage, dude. Look, the fist in the ice shot, fucking love that, man.
Oh, dude, it's brutal. I mean, especially... And one thing, as time goes on, if you watch Andrew's clothing, now he's wearing black, he's wearing darker colors. We don't ever see him wearing white. Like, and actually, at the end of the movie, he is dressed just like Fletcher. He's in all black with a black jacket on. And, like, his colors get darker as the film goes on.
I didn't even notice that shit. That's awesome. But yeah, Teller's losing control, dude, punching the drum. Fucking piece of shit, fuck you! He's unraveling, man. Like, while at the same time he's trying to get better, it's really tragic, if anything. At practice, Fletcher tells the band about a kid he came across in a practice room 6 years ago. Started at Schaefer with a lot of hope, but barely squeaked in to begin with. He was struggling. The staff gave up on the kid, except for Fletcher, who saw something in the kid. Fletcher gave him a chance. Jesus Christ, typo, and he became successful. Sean Casey died in a car accident, and then you kind of get that, like, as he's telling the story, like, you get this long shot of like Andrew looking on as Fletcher tells his story. And I love, like, Fletcher being, like, genuinely emotional, man, like lamenting the death of Casey. Because we don't fully know the circumstances of his death yet. Like, that comes later. But I like that we get this performance, this emotional sort of like reaction from Fletcher first.
Right. And like, even though, I mean, Fletcher, you know, might have a hand in what drove Casey to do that, he is still nonetheless emotionally affected the same way. Right.
Right. Like, it reminds us that he, again, is human. Right.
So
this part is insane, dude. Like, after you get this like emotional sort of like moving sequence, and, you know, like, oh look, Fletcher is human. He fucking makes these three drummers just go losing their minds, dude. Like, this is crazy. So he doesn't take to Connolly's performance while they play Caravan. Fletcher wants Andrew. Quick shot of Andrew fucking smiling at Connolly's failure. Did you catch that?
Oh, yeah. Well, especially out of all of these people, like, this is the only position that has two fucking alternates under it. Like, holy hell. Like, that's crazy.
Right. Fletcher doesn't like Andrew, gets Tanner to jump on, but loses his shit at Tanner. Motherfucker, Connolly, get your ass back on the kit. Fletcher keeps rotating the three until they get his tempo right, excuses the class. Is that the fastest you can play, you worthless homie fuck? No wonder mommy ran out on you. Dude, the guys are sweating their asses off, man. Like, you get shots of, like, the other classmates outside, and you can just hear the muffled sound of him yelling through the wall.
And here comes Mr. Gay Pride himself off the Upper West Side. Unfortunately, this is not a Bette Midler concert. We will not be serving baked Alaskan salmon. So please, just play faster than you get fucking hand jobs, okay?
You actually do look like a leprechaun.
Yeah.
Adjusting the seat, that's been the issue the whole time. As Andrew plays his heart out, Fletcher starts throwing shit across the room, including one of the drums on the fucking kit. Man, this is insane. Both actors here are just fucking incredible. I love the score of the movie as well, kind of coming into it in the background. You can kind of hear the piano, like kind of a little bit in the background. And Andrew ends the part. Fletcher calls the class back in, and it's fucking 2 a.m.
Yeah, wow. And he started on those drummers at like 11 or 11:30, and it's 2 a.m. when he breaks it. I'm like, God damn, dude.
So this is a moment that I really, really loved. After the class, they're in the alleyway, and Fletcher tells them about the venue they're playing at the next day. Dude, as Andrew walks away, I'm really curious to know what he's thinking. Like, at this point, as part of the audience, I hope that he's thinking, is this worth it?
That's what I'm saying, dude. I'm like, yeah, I think he's walking away going, man, this is the lowest of the low I've been at. I've got not only one guy, but two guys chomping at the bit for me, and I just had to blast beat for like 2.5 hours to impress this fucking guy. It's like, is this worth it?
Right, exactly. And it's again, it's tragic because he doesn't back off. He wants greatness. So, yeah. All right, man. Well, that's about halfway. What do you reckon about taking a break right here?
Let's do it.
Fucking awesome, guys. We'll be right back with more Whiplash. Don't go anywhere. I just wanted to take some time to talk to you about Audible. Have you heard about Audible? It's some book thing that every other podcast is talking about. Basically, if you sign up, you can pick up our book titled Midnight Double Feature Doesn't Do Advertising by Colin Duncan, Sohaib Ali, Danny Hartley, and Matt Vella. I'm just kidding. We don't have advertising, but I do want to plug our podcast for a sec. Just while we're taking a quick break here, we've got a few things that we just wanted to put out there for any newcomers, or if you're not a part of our growing community, maybe this could benefit you too. Firstly, I just want to let the newbies know about our episodes and the way Midnight Double Feature is currently structured. As you know, right now you're listening to one of our feature presentations. When we started the podcast, we basically built our show around feature presentations. These are movies that we choose to cover and basically go through everything in the movie that's worth talking about sequentially. These episodes are generally longer, and we're definitely looking at options to spice up our feature presentations by getting guests on. We also have the upcoming attractions episodes. Typically, these come out during the week and are much, much shorter than our feature presentations. These are hosted by Matt Vella and basically consist of a conversation between Matt and I about any movie news that's worth talking about, quick reviews of movies that are out there, and other hijinks. Finally, we have our special features. These are usually one-off special episodes that are mostly experimental and don't really have any specific definition. They could be a sit-down with a cast or crew member, a conversation between the hosts, or just a straight-up different thing that might not even relate to film. Before I let you get back to the episode, I just wanted to thank our listeners and supporters. We definitely couldn't have done any of this without your guys' constant support. If, for some reason, you're not part of our growing community, head to our socials. We've got 2 pages on Facebook, Midnight Double Feature, which is our main page and has our formal announcements, and we also have the After Party, which is where we post memes, news, and teasers of what's to come on Midnight Double Feature. We're also on Instagram, which is at Midnight Double Feature, and we're on Twitter, which is at MDFPod. Thanks again for listening, guys. Back to the show. Guys, welcome back. We are back from our break, freshly squeezed, as we like to say. You know what? We didn't actually say it last week.
I know. I thought about that. I was like, God damn it. I never lead episodes, and that's exactly fucking why.
I knew. I saw it go by, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to bring it up. Fuck it. We have a guest on, so I'm not doing it. By the way, guys, go check that episode out. We had Chris Schrader on from Haiti, remember? And we covered In the Mouth of Madness. That was a fucking great episode, dude. So fucking fun, that one.
Oh yeah, it's nothing better doing one of your favorite movies with one of your favorite podcasters.
Hell yeah.
You know, that's kind of surreal. It's like, man, that was kind of a milestone for me personally. I was like, this is awesome.
Literally, dude, the word I was going to use was surreal. Because like when we called like Chris and like we were talking about shit to him, and I was just like, you're responding to everything that I say. That's so weird.
Right. It's versus just hearing them talk like around you because they can't, you know, can't reply to you.
Exactly. But guys, we are back covering Whiplash. Ready to get back into it. The second half of Whiplash. And man, we are about to jump into a fucking crazy sequence. Basically, Andrew is on the way to this venue. His bus cops a flat tire. There's no cabs available. He rents a fucking car and he just hoofs it to the venue. And when he gets there, Fletcher tells Andrew that Connolly's playing his part. But man, I love that Andrew pushes back, right? He's like, no, fuck that. And Fletcher just goes on the defensive by going on the offensive, I guess, right? It's my part and I decide who to lend it to. Usually it's someone that has fucking sticks.
Yeah. I mean, this whole thing though, like I love, cause he's just been so, you know, he's been kind of a pushover this whole time with his, you know, his conductor, his you know, as this has gone on, we've just had this scene with his family where he's kind of stood up to them and been saying stuff. So you can see this stuff starting to getting to him. You can see the cracks starting to form. Right,
exactly. But man, like, yeah, you 100% right, because like this whole thing with Andrew here, even the way he talks to Connolly, dude, fuck off, Johnny Utah, turn my pages, bitch.
Oh yeah, and I love the fact that Fletcher's like, the only reason you're here is because you fucking misplaced a folder, and it cuts to Tanner, and Tanner's just kind of like, yeah, motherfucker, like he's got that look on his face like, you fucking bitch.
Right, but if we go with your theory, Colin, that Fletcher lost the thing for him, the notes, then it's also kind of like Fletcher being like, I have this little thing over you that you have no idea. Like, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Fletcher tells Andrew that he has 11 minutes to get his sticks, or he's washing them out, to put it nicely. You got 10 minutes, you fucking pathetic pansy-ass fruit fuck. Andrew drives back to the car rental store, picks up his sticks, and gets into a fucking car accident. Dude, this was so awesomely shot. It's like one take. I love the camera panning to the GPS and down to the phone as he puts it down, and then it's like panned back up and we get the truck. Man,
right, all one shot.
Right, this was so shocking in the cinema. I did not see this coming. Although maybe I should. I don't know. It's not that predictable to me, but it's just like, man, what a fucking disaster. Like, what crazy lengths have you gone like to take yourself to impress this guy? And not only that, dude, like Andrew doesn't even give a shit. Like the car is totaled, it's upside down, but Andrew takes off towards the venue and he's just like, oh, just a couple more blocks. Like, what? That is right, wild.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting time to get into this because I think that people are starting, while we're watching this, people are starting to look at Fletcher and saying, oh, wow, you know, look how he pushes these kids to do these awful things. And it's like, no, like Fletcher might be kind of like an instigator and he might be pushing their buttons and stuff, but he's pushing buttons because, I mean, at any point, anybody has the right to go, fuck this, I'm out, bye.
Right, he's not making the decisions for them.
Right, exactly. He's like, I am seeing whose buttons I can push, you know, and you know, it's not just going to crumble under the weight. And you know, it's as much as Fletcher is kind of a bastard and pushes these buttons, you know, Andrew's letting these buttons be pushed.
Right. right. I agree. Like it's not. It's kind of like showing these kids or like these students like what they can achieve, and then being like, this is what you need to do to get there. And if you wash out, then you wash out. And man, like it's all on the students, like the decisions, right? So Andrew arrives looking like hammered shit, and Fletcher acknowledges Andrew, but they play anyway. Dude, I love like he's barely able to hold the sticks. He's barely able to keep his eyes open. He drops his sticks, picks them up. Neiman, what the fuck? Andrew stops, and Fletcher just fucking calls it off, right? Like, he just tells the band just to stop. We're done. Tells Neiman,
I love the
we're done.
I love the piano player that just keeps going for a little bit. He's like, huh? What?
As Fletcher apologizes to the audience, Andrew finally does what I would have done ages ago and just fucking rushes and tackles the dude. Like, you know,
dude, he cracked 2 of Simmons' ribs.
Did he?
During
Is
the
this
scene?
really? Holy shit!
Yeah, and they said he just kept working like it was no big deal. Like he, didn't even take a day off, just came right back.
God damn! If I couldn't love Simmons more, Jesus. But yeah, man, like we 100% know why Andrew would do this, right? Like he's broken. He's just completely broken. I love the shot of like Andrew's like blood on the cymbal, like at the end there.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah. That's literally like a flesh for, like I don't know, not flesh for cash, but this like flesh for recognition kind of business, and that's one thing. The themes of this movie are so fucking great. I mean, you've got embarrassment, you've got ambition, you've got humiliation, dedication, like pain, like paternal recognition, like having your family recognize the fact that you're one of the greatest musicians of all time. And I think a big one is like the price of greatness, the price that you pay to be one of the best of the best of the best, like of all time. Like this is not something you just show up and it's just a hobby anymore. It's like this is an obsessive compulsive thing where you're gonna fucking hate it some days. But it's almost like working out or getting in shape itself. It's like, dude, at the time it sucks, but eventually, you look in the mirror and, you're that person that you wanted to be, that you dreamed about being. It's just like, wow, that's, what feeling is better than that, than setting out a goal that like you crushed and so few people can do it. Like that's fantastic.
I 100% agree, dude. By the way, it 100% is not flesh for cash, because that shit's happening, I don't know, probably on the street corners or some shit like that. Flesh for cash is that's prostitution, baby.
Yeah. Or slavery.
Right, exactly. Andrew meets with his dad and his lawyer. The lawyer tells Andrew that Sean Casey hung himself after suffering from anxiety and depression, probably brought on by Fletcher. And Casey's parents wants Andrew's help to testify against Fletcher so he can never do it again to another student. Yeah, man, this shit is where it got heavy, right? Like this is kind of like, imagine being in Fletcher's shoes, right? Like you get that call and you're like, do you think when he got that call, do you think he thought for a moment that it was his fault?
Fletcher?
Yeah.
No, because I mean, he literally says, "I will never fucking apologize for pushing people." It's I think everybody can use a little bit of Terrence Fletcher in in themselves to just push yourself beyond what you think you're capable of doing. You run 10 miles and you're like, all right, cool. I hit the 10-mile mark. I'm good. But I'm going to go a little bit longer just to see how I can keep running, and just, okay, maybe a little bit longer after that. Okay, well, maybe a little bit longer after that. Like, we were just talking off air, like, not to toot my own horn, but like went to the gym today, I usually go for about 30 or 45 minutes doing cardio. And I was like, I'm going to see how long I can go. And I pushed until I was like an hour and 15. And I was like, dude, I am starting to wind down now. Like I've got to get off this thing. But the feeling when I came home today and I was just like, I did the best that I fucking have ever done. Like I've pushed myself as hard as I can. And when I sit there and I smash some Taco Bell once we're done recording this, I'm not going to feel bad about it because I fucking, crushed over an hour worth of cardio. And I get people at work who come out to me and they're like, dude, I spent like 10 minutes on an elliptical and I fucking was just like exhausted. I was like, you punk bitch. It's like you can't even spend 10 minutes fucking doing it, So it's like just that feeling of pushing yourself to that point. I think everybody can use a little bit of, again, a little bit more of Terrence Fletcher in themselves, where it comes to your relationships, how you express yourself creatively. Like if you want to be one of the best at what you do, then you're going to need that. But if it's just a hobby or something, that's where it's a little bit different. But this is not a hobby for either of them.
No, I agree. I think people do tend to give up a little too easily, right? Like it's become a little ingrained in human nature, unfortunately. But I do agree, man. I know exactly what you're talking about in terms of like pushing yourself and pushing your limits because, man, when I did Tough Mudder last year, like that 17-kilometer obstacle course and shit, I went with the goal of finishing it, but I didn't think that I could when I started it. I was like, "There's no way I'm going to be able to finish this. I don't know how I'm gonna cope with this. Like, I can't run / power walk fucking 17 kilometers. It's all like in these mountains and like, there's mud everywhere and there's obstacles and shit. And I'm just like, I'm not going to be able to do this. And I finished it, man. Like I finished it all. And it was just like, it's such an amazing feeling and such an amazing sort of like achievement. And like I don't have a Fletcher. I don't have a person who is like, throwing shit at my head to like help me get this done. Like this negative reinforcement. I have fucking positive reinforcement, man. Like the friends that I was with when I did Tough Mudder, man, totally fucking grateful. And like I think that's a pretty cool conversation to have, right? Because like the encouragement that Fletcher offers to these students is negative. It's almost always negative. But there's also another type of fucking encouragement that people can offer people, and that's positive encouragement, right? Like you can have friends who like literally stand, like not literally, who stand by you and be like, I don't know. It's all in tone. It's all in the way they express it. It's all in the way they push you to be the best you that you can be. Like, do you know what I'm saying here?
No, 100%. Like I worked in a restaurant for about 5 years, and I had a Terrence Fletcher there. It's this guy named Jeff, and he was above me. He was a superior. He was in charge of getting all the stuff from the different stations. Saute, grill, the fry, like, and in charge of getting all of this stuff from all these people and getting the food sold in the window, and I can remember so distinctly him being like, "Hey man, how long on that fucking piece of fish?" And I'm like 3 minutes. He goes, "Is it 3 minutes or is it fucking like 3 minutes?" I was like, "It's 3 minutes." But he was not pushing me to be the best that I could be. He was just an asshole. But I knew that if I could get him to shut his fucking talk box for 2 minutes, if I could shut him down, and dude, by the end of my time there, I was running over that guy. Because he pissed me off so bad for years that I was like, I want to get out of my way before I fucking demolish you. I was like, I want to destroy you. And dude, I ran circles around that dude by the time I was done. But I was my own kind of Terrence Fletcher. But if that guy had been like, hey man, it's all right, just let me know when you can get it, I would have not pushed myself to just obliterate this motherfucker, And I'm ultimately better for that. My work ethic improved from that. And that carries over into a different profession that I'm in now, and I'm one of the best at my job. Not to toot my own horn, but like I'm one of our top people at this warehouse that I work at because I'm used to somebody being behind me going, "Hey, where's the set? Come on, what the fuck's going on? What are you doing? Get your head out of your ass! Like, wake up!" Like I was used to it because people were dependent on me. So now, like, I'm kind of grateful for that in a way.
Yeah. And look, like that's, it's funny when you say that because like you're working with food, you're working with, I guess you're working in hospitality, right? Andrew and Fletcher are more kind of like dealing with, I guess, entertainment in that kind of industry. My point here is that it's not going to impact someone's life. Like it's not going to save lives. You know what I mean? Like it's not like,
right.
It's not like people are going to die if you are not the best at this.
We literally had a head chef when people would start getting pissed and yelling at each other. He goes, "All right, everybody calm down. We're not saving lives."
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like you got to put into context like what level of fucking professionalism you're dealing with here, right? Like you're not a paramedic.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, 100%.
So Andrew gets dismissed from Schaefer, which is quite sad. But Andrew also defends Fletcher, right? He says he didn't do anything, like at the start of this conversation between the lawyer and the father. And of course, like this conversation is all kind of like cut over Andrew watching a video of himself as a kid as he plays drums. But eventually he comes through. He tells the lawyer to tell him what to say, which, by the way, is illegal because she can't coach a witness. Just saying.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't have not tell me what to say. Okay, well, tell me what happened because you've got a gold mine of shit we can bust him for.
Right, exactly. Oh, dude, I'm for sure. Cut to black, and presumably we get a bit of a time jump here, right?
Right, it's him. He's walking around, he's eating the pizza. It says summer, and I'm like, where were we before? Was this just like spring? Was this just like a couple of months later? Like this is what's been going on because he's resigned or fired or whatever, and he's off doing something else. But I'm like, I guess this is like a month, maybe 2 months. Maybe we went from like spring to summer.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's a couple months because Andrew's living with his father now, and they don't. I mean, like they still seem kind of like a little uncomfortable with each other. So I don't think there's been that kind of settling in period yet.
Well, and I don't want to go past him tearing down, the pictures and throwing away his buddy, his buddy Rich, buddy Rich, right? Yep. Yeah, throwing away the steel. Like, dude, that's hard to watch.
Yeah, man. Like he also puts the drum kit in the closet. Just kind of like I guess metaphorically closing the door on it and shit. So, but yeah, so. Andrew's now living with his father, and he contemplates contacting Nicole. One night, Andrew walks past the bar and sees a sign saying that Fletcher will be guesting there. Curious, he walks in, sees him behind the piano, and dude, like Fletcher just seems like a different person when he's playing music. like every musician, clothing. Right? Yeah, also the clothing, right? Exactly.
Right, he seems so much more relaxed and stuff now because he's outside of this. He doesn't have to be, Arlie Ermy screaming at these people. He's working with professionals. He's not working with people who are trying to be professionals. I'm like, man, that's interesting to see. Just to see him outside of this kind of weirdly enough, like this battlefield that they're in every day, of him just pushing them into this. To see him outside of that is like, it's kind of creepy a little bit, It's
strange. Like it's like literally, it's when you see a teacher outside of school and you're just like, you do a double take. You're like, what?
Right.
But like, we also have to remember that at this point in the film, Fletcher also has an axe to grind. Like he's going to lay the fucking seeds of his revenge soon. So Fletcher and Andrew have a conversation. Fletcher tells him that he was fired from Schaefer because someone testified against him. He tells him what he was doing at Schaefer, about what he was doing at Schaefer, that he was there to push people beyond what was expected of them, that it's an absolute necessity. In order to achieve greatness, people needed to be pushed to their limits, that complacency is the worst thing to happen. And one of my favorite lines in any movie ever, there are no two words in the English that are more harmful in the English language than good job. Like, I fucking love that line, dude.
Yeah.
Andrew asks Fletcher whether there's a line, whether it's possible that he's gone too far, but Fletcher shuts that shit down, saying that essentially a great person would never really crack under the pressure and be discouraged, and he never really had a Charlie Parker.
Dude, I will say I agree with this to some extent, because I've had moments where I was in a band and I was trying to write music and stuff. I got off work at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and I was like, I'm not leaving my room unless I have this piece of music almost completely flushed out. I had a bass, I had a piano, like keyboard, and I had a little, recording thing set up on my phone. And I was up from like 10 or 11 o'clock at night until like 6 to 8 the next morning. And I had just been playing the same piece of music over and over and over again, because I was like, unless I pull this Terrence Fletcher and lock myself in here I was delusional by the end of it. I ended up fucking just like fucking crashing and falling asleep, but I got what I wanted. And I had, I knew I had chipped away at this as much as I could. A couple of friends and I did a cover of a Jeff Buckley song. I know you're probably not familiar with Jeff Buckley. I almost said magician, insane musician, insane guitar player and vocalist. We did on a cover 117 vocal takes. Over and over and over and over and over again, because I was like, that's not good enough. I was like, yeah, that's not good. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. And we ended up kind of chopping them together, but it was the most I'd ever done anything in a vocal take. And my throat was so fucking sore. My jaw hurt so much like afterwards. But it was worth it because like, I felt good about what I'd done. I was like, this guy is such a hard person to try and cover and emulate. And maybe it's not great what I did, but it was the best thing that I could do. And I can just take pride in that. I don't have to be the best. I can just do the best that I can.
Right. Exactly. Just get to your limit. Right.
The song is also called Last Goodbye by Jeff Buckley. It's a fucking really good song.
That's badass. Let's put it in the after party.
Mm-hmm.
But when they part ways, Fletcher invites Andrew to drum for him, and he says that all Connolly to me was incentive to you, which is awesome. And this is essentially Fletcher being a snake, right? Because, like I said, this is him working his revenge. His whole fucking goal now with Andrew is to kind of sink him, right? Like, even though he wants to, he wants the Charlie Parker. I think he's kind of like, man, like this is the guy that got me fired. Like I want him. I want to put him in this right in the deep end, right in that concert at the end, and see whether he sinks or swims, and most likely he's going to sink, right?
Right. Yeah. I agree and disagree a little bit, but I want to get into that.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah.
Right, as we get later on towards the finale.
Right. Hard cut to Andrew opening his storage closet door where he stashed his drum kit. He calls Nicole and he apologizes. He invites her to the JVC show, saying that he wants to reconnect with her. But too little too late, though, because she'd have to check with her boyfriend. Oof. That's fucking rough. But
Denied.
But this is also... You're going to have to live with your decisions, dude. Like, that's what this is.
Right, exactly. Like, not everyone's Fletcher. They're not going to be like, oh, yeah, I know we had our problems, but you're fucking great, Like, that's not the way it works, with especially emotionally,
Exactly, 100%. And you let a sweetheart like that fall between your fucking fingers, Andrew. You fucking idiot. Well done, dude. Well done.
Yeah, you can't fuck a drum set, dumbass. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sure you can. You've tried that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some way. Yeah, they usually have that hole in the bottom of the bass drum, No, I'm just kidding.
Well, Step Brothers taught us you can rub your balls on it, so...
Yeah, that's true.
He suits up and heads to the concert. Fletcher instructs the band, telling them that the show could change their life, but if they drop the ball, the judges never forget. Very important. Dude, beautiful single take shot as Andrew takes his place. Before the show, Fletcher approaches Andrew and whispers to him, "I know it was you." Man, like, this was such a crazy revelation when I first saw it, man. I was like, holy fuck. Like, I had a feeling that he knew, but I didn't think that he would get him in this situation, like, and deliberately sabotage his career.
Right, because I think it goes either way. I think that in a petty kind of surface level way, Terrence would get this revenge that he's like, oh, cool. Well, you destroyed my career. I destroy your career. That's fine. But the thing is, he doesn't really want that. Maybe it's you win the battle, but not the war.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
I get what you're about to say. Yeah.
Right. And he's basically saying, like, if you fail and you crumble, then I'm not a good teacher. I did not produce a Charlie Parker. This is on me as much as it is you. Just like I was saying earlier, this is a 50-50, kind of dynamic that we have here. But if you succeed and you don't crack under this pressure and you can improvise and you can find a way to succeed through this, then I know not only have you done well, but I've done well, and we can both succeed, maybe at the cost a little bit of our humanity. But what I've done here will not be in vain, and what you've put yourself through will not be in vain.
Well, it's kind of like it's a win-win situation for Fletcher, though, right? Like, that's what we're saying here. So it's like you just said, if he crumbles and stuff, then he gets his like little revenge. I'd have to disagree with the part where he's like, where he seems like a lesser teacher, because so many people have crumbled in Fletcher's class. And when you think about it, all of those people in Fletcher's class have been handpicked by Fletcher. Right?
And I disagree there, because I think that
Well,
yes,
fuck
yes,
you.
yes, he is a great teacher, and and obviously, I mean, not all of these people are going to be the caliber that Andrew is. He has to have a band, even if they aren't the best musicians on the planet. They are the best that are performing at that school. So, like, either way, he is a successful teacher, again, on like a surface level academia kind of level. But what he wants is that Charlie Parker. Deep down, what he really wants is that. And he's like, it doesn't seem like he definitely never makes a mention of the fact that he's had anyone like that. I think that's why we have the stuff going on with Sean, the guy who hung himself. Why we have that stuff going on and why that's even mentioned, because he's so emotional. I think because he's like, that's, in a weird way, he's like this, like, in a Dr. Victor Frankenstein kind of, I'm rebuilding and I've built these people trying to find the perfect specimen, and nobody, nobody's been able to do this and hold with it. So I think that's why he's so destroyed when Sean dies, because he's like, A, that was a loss of a great talent, but B, there might be a little bit of guilt there. I pushed him towards that and ultimately crumbled. But C, the loss of the potential that this guy could have been my best student ever. He could have been, my Parker. He could have been that, but it just didn't happen. And I think most of it is just the fact that it's a loss of a great talent.
I think,
and
I think there's definitely. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I think there's definitely weight to that, because like, don't forget the way he starts that little speech is he plays Sean Casey's music, right?
Right, and he says he was a beautiful player, and I just wanted all of you to know that. Like, he doesn't say, "Oh, look at how great I am as of a teacher." He's like, I just don't want him forgotten. The same way that Andrew doesn't want to be forgotten. He's like, this is, this is it, like right here. If this guy fades into existence and nobody ever talks about him again, then all of the stuff that I've done will have been in vain. And I think that a lot of this stuff with Andrew and Fletcher is, again, I think that, like you said, exactly, it's a win-win. Either he gets his revenge or Andrew proves him 100% completely right. But I think that if it's like I said, it's a win the battle, lose the war situation. He wants him to overcome this, because if you can stand up to me, if you can look me in the face and after I've just destroyed you, and you can come back from that, then there's no stopping you. Because obviously he's like, I'm the biggest, baddest, hardest motherfucker you've ever met. And if you can get past me and you could do this, dude, you're untouchable. And I think he wants that because A, not only will he have created this fantastic, musician that he can finally say, I have my Charlie Parker, but now, both of us get to win this. Again, I think at a cost of their humanity, but it's, especially for Fletcher. Fletcher's been doing this for how long? He's tortured so many people, but this is like new territory for Andrew. So I don't know. I think that he does and doesn't want him to win this. I think maybe at first he does want that kind of surface level revenge, but once he sees that he's taking things into his own hands and he's making he's taking this loss and making it an opportunity instead. He's like, this kid's got some balls, and he's got what I want. He's got the drive. That's what I wanted. Like, nobody's had the drive like this kid, and that's what I wanted out of him the whole time. And I think this whole scene shows that.
God, it's awesome, dude. Like I think this movie, it's so perfectly written. Damien Chazelle, J.K. Simmons, and Miles Teller, like, it doesn't work without either of those three. And man, like this scene just totally encapsulates that. But yeah, let's move on, hey.
Yeah.
So essentially, basically, he sabotaged him, right? Like, this is drop right in the deep end. Like, this is a drop right in the deep end situation. Career make or break. And it's revealed that these are also new sets altogether, and that Andrew has to adapt. During upswinging, Andrew performs terribly. After Fletcher says, yeah, I guess maybe you don't have it. Andrew walks away and just hugs his dad because, man, like, what more can he do, right?
Right, and I love, actually, when he when he's walking towards his dad is like, again, it's kind of like Andrew earlier in the film. He's got these like lighter colored clothing on. He's surrounded by light. There's an exit behind him. Hey, the door's right here. Just walk through that door.
Right.
You're good to go.
You're so close.
But then he turns around and just submerges himself back into the darkness, wearing all black. And it's kind of like watching, it's like watching somebody slip to the dark side who could have been a Jedi. It's like, no, this is like this is what I want to do.
It's fucking awesome, dude. Like none of this is done by accident, man. Chazelle deserves every credit that he deserves. Sorry, that he gets. Yeah, like you said, Andrew's not giving up. He heads back to his kit and is ready to play. And dude, Fletcher just can't believe it. And as Fletcher addresses the crowd, he's cut off mid-sentence as Andrew just starts to play Caravan and starts queuing in the players, right? Pretty clever move. Get the upper hand on Fletcher. I love fucking Fletcher. I will gouge out your fucking eyes.
Oh, dude. Especially when Andrew starts playing and Fletcher looks back at him and he just goes, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like his mouth just says fuck you right now. I'm like, oh, God. That's fucking awesome.
Okay, so let's talk about the cinematography here, dude. The cinematography here is fucking outstanding, man. Like the quick panning to Fletcher, to Andrew, and then back to Fletcher. So
yeah,
that is fucking awesome. And I'm not sure. I believe it was La La Land where Damien Chazelle did the same thing. What's really happening is Damien Chazelle is standing behind the camera, the cinematographer, the camera operator, and he's tapping him on the shoulder whenever to turn. So that's an actual turn. Like there's no fuckery there. There's no CGI. There's nothing. It's literally a camera turning. But because the camera operator doesn't know when fully to turn, Chazelle is like tapping him on the shoulder. Like there's a video on YouTube about it. It's fucking awesome, dude. Like Chazelle is literally like tapping him on the shoulder to give him the cue. It's so basic, but it's awesome to see in action.
Well, and I think something to kind of go back to proving my point that like now maybe he did set out to destroy him, but he's like, okay, you can do this. I believe in you. I've got this. This is what we've been leading up for. Is not, Andrew knocks over one of his symbols and Terrence just grabs it and fixes it right away.
Yeah.
And then once he looks at him, he starts nodding his head. He's like, okay, let's go. And he starts looking at the band and starts gesturing towards them. And he's looking at Andrew and he's just like, you got it.
Right.
You're fucking right there. Do it.
Right.
Go in for the kill. Do it. It's like, oh, that's fucking brilliant, dude. It's like a Mickey and Rocky like type of situation,
Dude, this is one of my favorite endings of any film ever. Like, I love the way this movie ends, man. Andrew keeps playing even after Fletcher stopped and the band, stopped the band and the lights have dimmed. He's determined to show the crowd just who he is. He will not be sabotaged. Fletcher asks Andrew what he's doing and Andrew tells him that he'll cue him. We get a shot of Andrew's dad looking on as Andrew brings this thing to a fucking crazy finish. Fletcher looks on, nodding, motioning for him to slow the tempo down. When he slows it down and brings it back up, fucking awesome, man. Like I can't go, like, I don't know enough about music to fully break this down, but man, it's just it's an electrifying, show-stopping ending. I cannot get enough of this final performance.
Oh, yeah, because now, without, maybe, excuse me, maybe Andrew has this raw, like, unfiltered, just, this blast of energy to perform this stuff. But towards the end of this, Fletcher is like, look at me, listen to me. This is what you need to do. You need to back it down a little bit. Now bring it up. And he's like, bring it up with me because
he needs
this is where
he needs that mentorship still, right?
Right, exactly. It's like, dude, you have ability, but I have experience, and this is what we need to do. And it's like, dude, that's just a dynamite combo.
Fuck yeah. And dude, that's it. After he's done, the two share a look. Fletcher smiles and nods, giving a sign of his approval, and Andrew smiles, happy that he's finally got what he's wanted.
Oh, dude, you got to let me play just 30 seconds of this drum solo.
Hit me, dude. I love it. I love all of it.
Dude, it's so good. And it's so fucking Buddy Rich. Like I strongly suggest anybody go listen to some Buddy Rich fucking solos and stuff. Like, that guy was insanely fucking talented. But yeah, let me hit you with this clip really fast. That's so fucking good,
awesome,
man.
dude. Like it doesn't even do it justice when you're not watching it, because just the way you see him move, like the level of hand-eye coordination you need to have. I've always been pretty, like, you know, envious of drummers in particular, because, man, I look, I'm pretty coordinated. Like, I'm not fucking weird. But man, I can't imagine. I can't imagine having that level of detail.
Dude, when I sit down, I'm at a doctor's office or I'm waiting to get my oil changed or something, dude, I'm always back on my heels, just like I'm always fucking drumming like shit with my feet. Like, I can't help it. But dude, once I get behind a kit, I'm fucking like, I have like cerebral palsy. I cannot fucking play and keep that coordinated, because you got these people who can play righty and then switch to lefty and just go back and forth, whatever they need to do. And I'm like, man, that coordination to know, I mean, especially coming up off the hi-hat and like coming back down on it, but hitting it in between, coming up and off of it, like, holy shit, it's so fucking impressive, man.
Hell yeah. So fucking awesome. Dude, that's Whiplash. Whiplash.
Makes me think of Days of Future Past every time I hear the title of this movie. He's like, I'm holding your neck because of whiplash. What? Whiplash.
I think of fucking Iron Man 2. That's the villain's name.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Fucking Mickey Rourke. All right. Well, we don't have that many comments for this, but we do have a couple. Amanda Smith, thank you so much for commenting. Yes, this movie is incredible. Watched it like 3 times in a week when I first saw it. Intense. I think Miles Teller is typically a pretty bland actor, but he was amazing in this. I definitely agree. Honestly, I do. Like, I think this movie kind of falls apart if you don't have Miles Teller's sort of like dogged kind of like, you know, approach to his character. Like, I need to be all in on this character, dude. And again, J.K. Simmons, if it's not J.K. Simmons, then it doesn't work. So,
right.
You know what, Kim? Oh, I'm gonna fuck up her name. Kim Farley. I'm not gonna say her middle name. Kim Farley says she didn't like it the first time and loved it the second. I tried to prompt her to see what was wrong the first go around, but she didn't get back to me. So, because I was really curious. Like, I love this the first time all the way through. So, I am curious to see what problems that people picked up. Because I certainly don't have much. Like,
Right, no, yeah, there's very little to be trimmed off of this thing. Like, maybe the scenes go on longer and it's like a very patient kind of movie, but it's kind of like Prisoners. There's not a lot you can cut out of there that's not vital.
Right, exactly. Like, it's very it's all very integral, right? Like, it kind of reminds me of Endgame in that way a little bit. Like, Endgame is a fucking 3-hour epic, and I wouldn't say that you could cut that much out of it, but yeah. And Daniel Lambert, straight to the point, loved it. Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate it, man.
I actually I forgot to pull this up just now because we're at the end. This is an interview on Screen Crush with the writer director Damien. What's Damien?
Chazelle.
Chazelle. I almost said Shazam.
Gazelle.
Gazelle, yeah. But the interviewer asked him, "Where do you think these two go after this movie ends?"
Ooh.
They had a moment at the end of the film, but I feel these two will always hate each other. This is the interviewer. Damien comes back. I think so. I think it's definitely a fleeting thing. I think there's a certain amount of damage that will always have been done. Fletcher will always think he won, and Andrew will be a sad, empty shell of a person that will die in his 30s of a drug overdose. I have a very dark view of where this goes. I was like, damn. So basically, like, yeah, it just got him. It's like, yeah, you might be one of the greats, but it not at a price, not without a price. It's like, damn, man, like Fletcher ultimately kind of wins. Like if we're going, but and obviously this is all open to interpretation. Calm down. I'm not saying that he doesn't grow up and become this amazing drummer and live to be 100, but in the director's interpretation of it, this is how it ends for Andrew. And it's like he foreshadows, his own, he and Paul Reiser, and the family at the dinner table foreshadow his own destiny according to the director,
Right. And we know that, exactly, Andrew has no qualms of dying at early 30s or whatever. Like he's like, I'm fine with that if I get to be what I want.
Right. The interviewer goes on. He says, "Oh yeah," and Fletcher's there. Obviously, he gives the eulogy, and they both kind of laugh. And Damien says, he says, "Yeah, all the eulogy is that ungrateful fucking brat. That's all the eulogy is."
Honestly, probably, I would love to see the character of Fletcher doing something like that. That'd be awesome. But yeah, man, that's this movie. Fucking give me your final thoughts, dude.
Oh man, I think I'm pretty fucking tapped out. Yeah. I love this movie. I think that it's just like an onion, but in reverse. The more you peel it, the less it stinks. There's just so many layers to it. It's fucking fantastic. I'm becoming more and more and more of a fan of these kind of movies that we cover. Newer movies, one-shot things, one and done. They're fucking great. Maybe they flew under the radar a little bit. I feel like most people don't have Nightcrawler, Prisoners, Whiplash, like Zodiac in their movie collections. And I'm like, man, that's a fucking crime. These are some of the best movies made in the last 10 years. And I'm becoming more and more of a fan of those kind of movies.
You want to hear what they all have in common? All those 4 movies?
What?
They were all my picks.
Oh, fuck you, goddammit. Well, Zodiac was both of us. Fuck you. But no, I think that this is, people are like, oh, Hollywood's out of ideas and there's no original stuff left. And blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that argument, get the fuck. But they are right to an extent. They are right. The stuff that we see, nobody knows about Whiplash, but how many motherfuckers saw Happy Death Day to You? And it's like, dude, Jesus Christ, it's shit like that are just like these, just these popcorn throwaway movies that are fine to watch. And, but the point is, movies like Whiplash and Prisoners and Nightcrawler and stuff, those should be the ones that everybody goes, oh man, those are fucking great. Those are the ones that hang out in the cinemas and just crush, but they fucking don't. I mean, look at Blade Runner 2049. It's considered a commercial failure, and it's one of the best movies made in the last 20 years. And that's such a fucking crime. And I think, but most people like you and me and people who listen to film podcasts and get into that stuff and really get, and not just us. I'm not trying to be elitist, but the people who really appreciate film and get sucked into it to a point, you could even consider yourself kind of a cinephile a little bit. Those are the people that come back for these kind of movies. And that's exactly, that's exactly my kind of ballpark. I want to see more of these kind of movies being made. Just these lower budget indie kind of movies that just end up blowing up and knocking the socks off everyone and winning. I think I read something. J.K. Simmons has won 47 different awards for this film alone. They shot this film in fucking 19 days.
Yeah,
I was like, God damn, dude. And
it was edited, shot and edited in 7 weeks or something. 10 weeks.
Yeah, it's yeah. But I think this is, one of the best movies made in the last 10 years. But somehow it's still, even with the Oscar wins, it's still criminally underrated. It's really, really well, really well done. And I wish this was in everybody's movie collection because it's just fucking fantastic.
Hell yeah, dude. This is a movie that I've been contemplating covering for some time now. But like we always do, we try and hold off on our favorites as long as possible.
Yeah.
This movie just blew my socks off when I first saw it, and it stuck with me. I couldn't stop thinking about it, man. It really had an impact on me. And I think a lot of what helps that is just kind of how simple it is. It is not a complicated story. Prisoners is more or less a complicated story, because it goes back into this this like whole history of like of this family, like they would kidnap people and shit. Like this doesn't have any of that. Like this doesn't have that like level of intricacy or like detail.
If I may, that is a plot-driven movie versus a character-driven movie.
Right. I agree. Yep. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So, yeah, 100%. So I think that definitely works in its favor, to be honest. Like this is so relatable, even though I have not touched a drum set ever, probably. It's so ingrained. Like the story is so relatable in that it's ingrained in all of us as humans or whatever, because like we all like to variable extents. Like we all want to be something. We all want something. We all have a goal. We all try to do things that we eventually want to accomplish, right? Like, or so we should. And that's exactly what this movie is about, and that's what it shows. It shows the dangers of that, or of wanting something too much.
Right, the dangers of obsession.
Right, exactly. So, like in Prestige, he's like, obsession is a young man's game. It's like I can't do that. I can't go there with you. Right, exactly. I think Prestige kind of hits us over the head a little bit more than this. Like I think this. See, that's the thing. Like I don't want to bag on Nolan, but I think that's the thing about these directors that are coming out of the woodwork like now, like Chazelle and Villeneuve. Like they don't really kind of like beat us over the head with it, if that makes sense. Like it's there, but they don't tell us about it. So,
right.
Yeah, man, I love this movie. I think this movie is an all-time great. It's my favorite Damien Chazelle movie, but I don't think it's the best made Damien Chazelle movie. I think I'd have to give that to La La Land. That movie it's just an achievement. My dad watched this movie, Whiplash. We watched it together, and we were just like you were talking about like people not really knowing this movie much. Like my dad didn't like know about it, but man, like when he watched it, it blew his mind. Like, you know, he's not into drumming, he's not into music. Oh, he is into music. Like he, you know, plays a keyboard and shit in his spare time, like a hobby. But it's just a testament to how Damien Chazelle made this movie just so relatable to everyone. Like it's so easy to understand how Andrew can be in this situation. So yeah, man, I think this movie's a fantastic piece of art, and I'm so glad we talked about it. Thank you so much for joining me on this one, dude.
Well, hell yeah, dude. Thanks for picking it. You want me to plug socials? We'll get out of here.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Let's do it.
Awesome. Well, guys, thanks for listening to the end. This has been our coverage of Whiplash. If you want to find us on our socials or anywhere outside of the show, midnightdoublefeature@gmail.com is our email. You can find us on Facebook at Midnight Double Feature. We also have the group The After Party. It's 3 words. Everybody's invited to that. We're on Twitter at MDF Pod. We're on Instagram at Midnight Double Feature. We're on Spotify at Midnight Double Feature. We're on YouTube at Midnight Double Feature. Pretty much anywhere you guys want to find us, we'll be there. Also, please stop by, rate and review us on iTunes. That's really, I mean, it's a free podcast, and I love the fact that it's free, and God knows I wouldn't pay to listen to our opinions, but the thing that helps us out the most for people who are, you know, we've had some people say, hey, when are you guys going to launch memberships? When do you guys do this? And that is so fucking awesome, and that's so heartwarming, and it really, God damn it, you feel so accomplished after somebody does something like that. And maybe someday we'll get to that point, but for now, if you guys can hit us up on iTunes or rate and review us on whatever platforms that you're on, that's going to help us to get closer to that goal someday. And if you don't like us, you know, give us a 1-star review. Tell us what we're doing wrong. You know, give us some constructive criticism. We'd love to hear it. If you guys have any suggestions or some titles, you know, that you would like to hear us check out, you can email us at midnightdoublefeature@gmail.com. And we'd love to hear from you guys. Zohab, I think that's about it. You want to tell these people adieu?
Thanks for listening, guys. Really appreciate you guys listening to this one. This one was a big one for me, so I'm really, really glad to have covered it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Ditto, kiddo. Guys, thanks so much for coming on, and we will check you out later. Cue that outro music.